and one of them helped us win a Star Award. So.
And off we go. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in, boys and girls. Welcome in, children of all ages. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Happy Tuesday, my dudes, my dudettes. It is spectacular to be with you one time again.
Nope.
Yup.
Nope.
Yup.
Nope.
Yup. And what a day we got lined up today. What a day we got lined up. And listen, let's keep it a buck with the people, shall we? Nothing more exciting than the fact that coming up at 8:20 this morning, we'll be joined live and right here in the studio by the man they call Orange Cassidy from All Elite Wrestling. The Orange Cassidy is going to join us here on the radio broadcast. We are stupid excited about that.
Are we stupid excited? I don't know.
Yes.
I'm concerned that you might cause him to stroke out or something. Because I mean, in contrast of styles, this is going to be interesting. I don't know. I'm not going to ask you to tone it down because that wouldn't do any good.
No, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I just I'm a little concerned about that part, but we'll see.
For those of you that
I think he and I are on the same level as far as delivery, but you are not. So I mean, you know,
for those of you that are unaware, Orange Cassidy, I don't know how else to describe the guy, Alonso, the most laid back professional wrestler in the history of professional wrestling.
You know, there's some who look at him and think lazy, but he's not lazy. That dude works.
Not only is he not lazy, but he took the international championship and made it a workhorse title. What did he defend? 747 consecutive matches?
I think that's a question to ask him. He probably has the exact number, more than likely.
We are going to ask him. We are going to talk about that extensively today. Very excited.
Whoa. Look up.
Oh, yeah, I've met him. That's Frank. Have you not met Frank?
Whoa. Dude. No. That was a special forces drop right there, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. He was on your board a second.
He still is.
He's behind your keyboard.
I see it.
Yeah.
I'm not scared. I want to kill it, but then people will freak out.
I don't listen. You pick Frank. You escort Frank safely.
I'm gonna give him to you
to the floor.
Because you. Oh, there he goes.
There he goes.
Okay, he's coming on your side.
So, all right. Let me.
I want to point out that my woe was a manly throaty woe.
Oh yeah.
Whereas
the manliest of woes.
I think some people on the other show, it might have been a girly scream. I'm just gonna. No, my woe was it went from look, he's there, boom, and he was down. I was like, oh.
All right. Let me tell y'all what just happened because the overwhelming majority of you can't see us right now. About 3 weeks ago, the Great One was out on vacation for a couple of days. He's right here now. He's
over there.
There he goes. Now he's under the desk. Oh, he's special forcing down to the floor now. Lonzo was out for a couple of days. And because I am very good at my job, I sat over there and I ran the show solo. And we got off the air one day. And when we got off the air, I was sitting in here. I was finishing up some work in the studio before I took it over to the Fortress of Nerditude. And somebody called me. I think it was Diesel called me to ask me a question. And as I was on the phone with him, a what is that? A daddy long legs, I think they call it.
You know what? It's a version of that, but it's more of a predator type of the daddy long legs. I don't know.
Whatever it's called, a daddy long legs.
I don't think it can
dropped.
bite or anything, but if you're not there are usually no bugs ever in these studios, which is amazing, except for we've had ants. So when you see something, that's what got me. Is I'm not used to seeing any bugs in here. So.
A daddy long legs dropped from the ceiling and then ended his descent about eye level and about 3.5 inches away from my nose. And I'm on the phone and I did exactly what Zoe did. I went, oh, whoa, whoa. Decent went, what is happening right now? I was like, I had no big deal. I'm just getting invaded. My facial area is being assaulted by a daddy long legs. And he goes, you know they won't do anything. Yeah, it's not the fear of the result of the meeting. It was the surprise of the meeting because no one expects to just have a spider drop in your face. Well, that just happened to the great one because we saw it as it was hanging about 2 feet from the ceiling. And then as we were talking about it, it just free falls down to the board right in front of the great one. And that's when you all heard the exclamation of surprise because of our buddy Frank here.
Yeah, again, it was the quickness of the descent that got me. It was like, oh,
Frank.
He's not like a camel spider. I mean, you know, it's not. I've seen some mean spiders where I live, as you can imagine. So first thought is, oh, that's not. Oh, okay, we're good.
Frank is he's our studio buddy, is what he is.
Yeah,
Frank is our studio buddy.
If he's on the floor and I'm anywhere, I'm stepping on it. So I mean, you know, I'm just telling you.
Frank, I am assuming, is the reason we don't have any other bugs in the hood because Frank is taking care of business every day, taking care of business every way. Frank's the best. And I appreciate his efforts in keeping the studio bug free, except for Frank, who gets a pass from me because anybody who is willing to keep the skeeters and the gnats and whatever else up out of here, free pass. I know there's a lot of you that see bug, kill bug. Like those are steps 1 and step 2, see bug, kill bug.
That would be me. I admittedly, I understand how the circle of life works and everything, and I'm bigger. So, I mean, you know, that's also the circle of life, and I will step on you.
On the other hand,
the only reason why I didn't kill it is because you were judging me.
Let Frank live. Because, again, there's a lot of worse bugs that could be up in here today. A lot of worse bugs.
All right, where does your acceptance end? Okay, I mean, where do you go? Okay, that's it. That thing's got to go.
If it bites me, it's out.
Okay.
Now, if it has the potential to bite me, it's out.
Are you wearing regular shoes today?
I'm wearing the combat boots today.
Oh, okay. So there's no chance of it crawling across your toes.
Correct. I'm wearing the combat boots today. Had I rocked the flip-flops, not even true. I still would have just ushered Frank over into a dark corner.
You can't help it. If something crawls across your toes with your foot problem, you're going to you might fall out of the chair.
Your foot problem, he says. So we all got to listen to Lonzo's exclamation of surprise.
I apologize for showing emotion. I'll try to work on that.
When my guy Frank descended from the ceiling into
burn it down,
Lonzo's little area over there. All right, we've got a day lined up for you. Orange Cassidy coming by at 8:20 this morning. 8:30 this morning.
According to the email, I just had to check it because I'm not trying to correct you, but I don't want to steer people wrong. According to the email, 8:30 to 9.
Eventually, he's coming by eventually.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry, but I don't want people tuning in 8:20 and thinking Rob Brown lied. So, I mean,
that's fair.
Just try accuracy. That's
fair. Orange Cassidy coming by later this morning. We are jacked up about that. Big Orange Cassidy guys over here for sure. So looking forward to that. We have got, obviously, outside of that, a ton of other stuff to talk about on the show today. We have not yet gotten our interviews with Cade Klubnik and Don Munson on the air. We are going to do that later on in the show. We'll talk a little bit with those fellas, and we're looking forward to it. We won't talk to them. I talked to them last week, and I'll play that interview for you later on this morning. We got to talk a little bit of Olympics today. The U.S. men's gymnastics team breaks a 16-year medalist strike. U.S. bringing home it was a bronze, but again, you ain't medaled in 16 years. Getting back on the podium is step number one. We'll talk about that. The action in the pool has been hot and heavy the last couple of days. We've got the women's 1,500-meter freestyle just about to start right now in Paris, France. So we're going to talk quite a bit about the Olympics today. It is Major League Baseball's trade deadline today. And the Bravos made a move yesterday. Not just made a move yesterday, but made a move yesterday to bring back a fan favorite. Made a move to bring back a young man who was infinitely important in the Braves' 2021 World Series run. Jorge Soler is back with the Atlanta Bravos.
See, now I can't read the name during Sports Flash because I can't roll my R's. That's so annoying. You're just throwing it in my face.
Jorge Soler.
And stop doing it. Oh, no. No.
It's coming back to Atlanta, to the ATL. And we're going to talk about that, as well as other moves that may or may not get made at some point for Atlanta today.
I thought you said, I thought you said they weren't doing anything.
I thought they weren't doing anything.
I thought Abe said they weren't doing anything.
We both thought that they weren't doing anything.
Okay. All right.
We are both, I'm going to assume, frankly, a little shocked by the fact that they did indeed do something, because it was not expected. If we're keeping it a buck, it was not expected. I thought that Atlanta was going to lay back. I thought Atlanta was going to let everybody else make the moves today. I thought Atlanta was going to get through the trade deadline doing nothing, and instead, that's not what they did. Instead, they decided to go back and bring back a cat who had one of the most iconic home runs in Braves history from Game 6 of that World Series, when he went dong against the Houston Astros to help the ATL get that dub. We will talk about that move from Atlanta, as they did indeed decide to make a play. They weren't the only ones. A flurry of activity last night. Around Major League Baseball. And we will break down some of the bigger moves as we approach the day. The trade deadline, 6 p.m. this evening, by the way, is the trade deadline. So we'll talk a little bit about that coming up later on in the show. I'd also like to get to some thoughts, not on who will win the Heisman Trophy, because I don't care. All right? Call me a bad college football fan. I don't care about the Heisman Trophy, because it's an award that rarely actually goes to the best player in college football. It's an award that ordinarily goes to the most popular, or the player that has an organization, a team, a school that campaigns for them. But I do think it is important to talk about the Heisman Trophy betting odds, because I think the Heisman Trophy betting odds will give you a pretty good indication of what is expected from whom So we'll take a look at some of the championship front runners and who it is that they have within the Heisman Trophy race to see if there's anybody that makes a particular school jump off the page as maybe not just a favorite, but a favorite you might want to lean into a little bit. So we're going to talk about that later in the show. We have got to talk some NFL training camps underway, including the Carolina Panthers Back Together Day, which took place in Charlotte. Two things come out of that. Number one, and I do think that I would like to get into this a little bit. Number one, the first thing that came out of it was, I think there were more former Panthers players there than there were Panther fans there. I'm really intrigued, and I want to have this conversation with the Carolina Panther fans on the show today. Because I'm getting to the point that I think I'm more optimistic as a Panther, let's say supporter, if not fan outright. I think I'm more optimistic as a Panther supporter than like the overwhelming majority of the fan base. And I don't think it should be that way. I really don't. Because I watched some tape from the open portion of that practice. And not only was the fan turnout, if I'm keeping it a buck, pretty damn disappointing, to be honest with you. The fan turnout was disappointing. And then there were some moments where the fellas kind of showed out a little bit. BY connected on a couple of deep balls that I think, to me, showed, yeah, he got that dog in him. Xavier Legette is going up and making Michael Jordan-esque catches all over the football field right now.
How low is that?
That'd be great, man. Like, that dude is killing it right now. And I'm watching this team play. And again, it's practice. This is the most dangerous time of the year for football fans. It's the most dangerous time of the year for football teams. And it's dangerous because it's camp tape season. It's dangerous because this is the point of the year where little things happen while guys are wearing T-shirts and shorts that make everybody go, all right, maybe we need to like relax a little bit here. But also, maybe we're real good. Maybe we're real good. Maybe we should raise the expectations. Here's what I'm going to tell you.
Wait. Did you just go two reels? Maybe we're real good.
I mean, relatively speaking,
that's overly optimistic.
How about real better?
Okay.
Maybe we're real better.
That's kind of acceptable.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I saw out of camp footage from the Panthers, but not just me. Some of the old Panthers were there, including Thomas Davis Jr. And he had some thoughts on what the expectations for this team should be. So we're going to talk about all of that and more. Orange Cassidy coming up this morning at 8:30 all the way through the end of the hour. It's going to be a busy day. Phone line open. Renewal by Anderson to the Carolinas fan phone is available for you at 844-326-3663. The text line is open at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. We are busy. Get in now. It's the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. Joey B, he'll be there whenever to talk about whatever.
Instead of showers Wednesday night. I'm meteorologist Sarah Foster on the fan upstate. Currently it's 73 degrees. Hi, welcome to Staples.
Yeah, my daughter needs a laptop for college, but I need to watch the budget.
Well, Staples hot deals on tech are backed by a price match guarantee, so our prices won't be beat.
Great. I can't believe my baby's starting college.
She'll do great.
I know.
Oh, let's get you a great deal on a laptop.
Save big on tech for school at Staples. Now get up to $300 off select PCs and take 24 price match guarantee valid within 14 days of purchase. Exclusions apply. For details, visit staples.com/price match.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Gotta change my oil.
How about Valvoline Restore and Protect? It restores and protects your engine to run like new.
Get in zone. It restores your engine to like factory clean?
And protects.
Get in zone. So Valvoline Restore and Protect restores and protects.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP.
Yep, Joey B, I could not agree with you more. That is exactly what I think is happening here.
Play social games online for free. Head to ChumbaCasino.com now to join the Chumba fun and experience the thrill of the Chumba life. No purchase necessary. VGW Group void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
It's BetMGM tonight.
2 years ago, he pretty much individually won me my fantasy baseball league.
This was 2 years ago because last year's
I won one
was
game.
not good.
Yeah, because I couldn't do the draft. I had cousin Joe do the draft. He got drunk instead. And I couldn't communicate because you and I were doing the show.
Good morning, Donovan.
Percentage of the winnings, that's all.
BetMGM tonight. Live sports betting updates as they happen. Weeknights at 7
On the fan upstate. Your guide to the gridiron, the maestro of the matchups, and the keeper of all things cool in the sports world.
So we're going to talk quite a bit of Braves ball on the show today. And we're going to talk some Braves ball on the show today because the Braves, as we mentioned just a minute ago, did indeed decide to make a move yesterday. They go get Jorge Soler from the Giants. Jorge Soler, of course, an outfielder on the 2021 Braves World Series team. And my man, Joey B, showed up in the chat on our live stream, which you can join us at facebook.com/thefanupstate, on Facebook by searching and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show, on YouTube by searching and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show or The Fan Upstate, or by going to Twitch and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show. All the different ways that you can follow along with and watch our live stream every single day. We'd love to have you. We are live all 4 hours, all 5 days a week. Lonzo and I, you can see his bright shining face. Just allow it to illuminate your morning every single morning.
It's a good way to start your day.
It's the best way to start your day.
You don't need coffee.
The best way to start your day. So we encourage you to join us. We would love to have you on the stream this morning and every morning. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about what this means. Yeah. Joey B jumped on, and we will start with had the same thought that I had. That thought being, this is pretty much a guarantee that Marcell Ozuna's time with the Atlanta Braves is likely coming to its conclusion. Now, I'm not quite ready to guarantee that just yet. And I'm not quite ready to guarantee that just yet because you don't know if Jorge Soler is going to do anything. He's got a dozen home runs this year, right? Marcell Ozuna is hanging in and around the top 7-8 home run hitters in the league this year. Jorge Soler is a DH this year. He is not playing in the outfield. He is playing specifically designated hitter. And because he is specifically playing designated hitter, I don't know that a dozen dingers is the spot you're looking for. I don't know that a guy on pace to hit 23 home runs is necessarily the guy that makes you feel like you're in a great spot. And I know that there are off-the-field issues around Marcell Ozuna. Marcell Ozuna has been arrested. He has been charged. Not exactly a dude that every Braves fan is super jacked to have representing their club, right? But at the same time, and this is not me lobbying to keep Marcell Ozuna. I am not. Let's make that abundantly clear. What I'm telling you is, if you're Alex Anthopoulos, you clearly don't have an issue with Marcell Ozuna being on the squad because he's, on the squad. And if you have not yet had an issue with Ozuna being on the squad, then keeping him on the squad moving forward as more time is created betwixt the incidents that made Soler controversial. And now, are you going to get that same production? Now, if Jorge Soler comes back to the ATL, if Jorge Soler shows up, and let's say he's one of those cats, like Jesse Chavez. If you haven't followed the career of Jesse Chavez, it's been very interesting. Jesse Chavez has been an Atlanta Brave and also not been an Atlanta Brave many, many times throughout his career. He has pitched for the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Atlanta Braves, the Royals, the Jays, the A's, the Jays, the Dodgers, the Angels, the Rangers, the Cubs, the Rangers, the Mariners, the Braves, the Cubs, the Braves, the Angels, the Braves. Jorge Soler has been with so many times because, Jesse Chavez has been with the Braves so many times because for whatever reason, whenever Jesse Chavez ends up leaving Atlanta, the numbers disappear. And then whenever he ends up back in Atlanta, Jesse Chavez turns into freaking Tom Glavine with the Braves uni on.
Are you complaining?
No,
Okay.
quite the opposite.
Okay, all right.
Quite the opposite. What I'm saying is, what if Jorge Soler has that Jesse Chavez element to him, where he's one of those cats that on one team he matches. Maybe the ballpark fits his style. Maybe he's more comfortable. Maybe there's a coach there that knows how to say the right thing at the right time to get him on his game. For whatever reason, if Jorge Soler comes back to Atlanta and he goes back to absolutely clubbing, absolutely mashing, and if that is the case, then I've got to think you can start working on sending Marcell Ozuna out and getting something for him. Or just not re-signing him down the line. Just not re-signing him down the line. Now, probably a little late in the day to trade Marcell Ozuna, though I could be wrong. You got 11 and a half more hours before that trade deadline is official. But if this is the move, you signed Jorge Soler because your outfield is dinged up and also kind of bad right now. Kalenic has been hit or miss throughout the season. Hot streaks, cold streaks. Money Mike Harris is out. Ronald Acuna Jr. is out for the season. You've been having to lean on some guys that you don't really want to have to lean on. Now, Jorge Soler, as we have mentioned, Jorge Soler has been playing the DH role in San Francisco, has not been playing in the outfield. In fact, and I I think I have this correct. Jorge Soler has not played a game in the outfield this year, but he did play a lot of them last year for Miami, and he played relatively well. So I think you're optimistic if you're the Atlanta Braves right now. I think you're optimistic that the guy that you just brought in can give you a big bat in the lineup. He's a 240 hitter this year. He's not blowing you off the page, but compared to what you've got across the lineup, 240 slots him towards the very top of the team averages. So you're going to put that cat out into the outfield. You're going to ask him to do his thing, and we'll see. We'll see if he can. We'll see if he can. But yes, as was mentioned, I think this is a spot that has now all but assured that this is likely Marcell Ozuna's final year in an Atlanta Brave uniform. Unless Jorge Soler is going to be like every other Brave, a guy that's a 220 batter, a guy that's going to go dinger once every 4 or 5 games max. A guy that is, again, not necessarily a liability, but not really a standout defensive player in the outfield either. That's why he's here. So this isn't necessarily the big-time move that I would have liked to see the Atlanta Braves make. But also I understand they weren't really in a spot to make that kind of move. They weren't really in a spot where that was an option, unfortunately. They were kind of in a spot where they had some spots they needed. They had some pieces they had to work with. They were able to go get in Jorge Soler, a guy that they are comfortable with, a guy that is comfortable in the ATL, a guy that has been here, that knows the clubhouse, that knows the boys on the squad. It's about as good as you could ask for, if we're being honest. So, again, I know Braves fans wanted to see Atlanta really hammer it in, but the reality here is that was never a thing. That was never going to be a thing that Atlanta was going to do here. Atlanta was going to go look for some pieces. By the way, Tyler Matzik, the reliever, is out because the other part of that trade was Luke Jackson, who was also on the 2021 World Series team. Now, Matzik was a fan favorite, but I don't hate this move for the Atlanta Braves, if I'm being honest with you. And I don't hate this move for the Atlanta Braves because while I do like some big Matzik, I'm a big fan. The reality is the Braves bullpen's already pretty good. And my suspicion here is that the Matzik move was likely made to make the Soler move happen. You got a guy that is a bit of a step down, but you had to make that happen in order to bring in Jorge Soler, boost up the outfield a little bit, and give yourself another bat for a guy that's hitting 240 and get you a dinger every 5-6 games. Is it the big move Atlanta wanted? No. But Atlanta was never going for a big move this year. This is, as Abe Gordon said yesterday, a write-off year. We'll see what happens. All right, let's take a break. Got some more trade deadline stuff to talk about. We've got your interviews with Don and Cade coming up later on in this show. We're going to be busy. Katie Ledecky in the pool right now in the women's 1,500-meter free third heat. And she is, stop me if you heard this before, Alonzo, kicking everybody's ass right now.
Yeah, she's a little bit ahead.
She's up by about a half a length right now. All right, back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
You know, I can't make us be on time if you won't let me. I'm just saying. You're going to get us in trouble.
Yeah, I had to bring up the Ledecky thing.
I know, but I don't like it.
The half human, half dolphin hybrid is underway. Could you imagine swimming 29 consecutive minutes?
If I was being chased by a shark.
returning to Atlanta in the trade is right-handed reliever Luke Jackson, another member of that 2021 championship team. In exchange, the Giants get left-hander Tyler Mattek and infield prospect.
See if we make it through the day without anybody else quitting.
Was the last one a quit or a relieved of duties?
Quit. Guess I didn't like how much I scheduled him.
How much you schedule him? Do we ordinarily have the other problem?
I'm just saying, if you didn't think you were going to work that much, and then suddenly you see that you are. Now we have major problems. We now technically have one part-timer.
And it's keeping you from living the life that you love.
And that's Odie. And he's unavailable right now because he's directing a play. So, yeah.
With exciting new cellular therapies. They've been helping patients like you every day. And as the nation's leader in non-surgical,
How long is this race? She lapped
1,500 meters.
She's close.
900 more meters. 4.5 more times back and forth.
Minute and a half.
Improve your mobility and enhance your life with long-term relief and no downtime. QC Kinetics is here to help with regenerative, restorative cellular treatment. So call them for a consultation today at 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772 in Greenville and Asheville. 864-448-3772.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in the company is essential.
It's like another beautiful sunny day in the upstate. Some sarcasm.
You being sarcastic? Stop it.
Did you see the email from downstairs earlier?
Nope.
Dude.
Look at it now.
Yes, it's kind of for you, yeah, and for me, kind of, because I didn't put an air check in 1 week.
Oh, for
Yes. So you do have the new copy for today.
yes.
Selection varies by location. Also, discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
DQ presents. Picture this. Picture the DQ $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Not just the cheeseburger, a bacon cheeseburger. Plus fries, drink, and a sundae. All full size, all for $7. Because everything's better with bacon. Everything's also better with a side of fries, a refreshing drink, and a sundae to finish. Yum. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. DQ. Happy tastes good.
From the Ingles Market Studio.
Your ticket to the best local sports. 97.7 FM, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app.
The Rob Brown Show continues. It's the fan of state. Robin, the great one, Lonzo, with you here on the show today. Be a part of the radio broadcast, 844-326-3663. That is the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. You can also text us. Our text line is open. It's 71307, 71307. Texter says, Rob, elaboration of your foot problem? ? That's from Eric. Eric, I appreciate the question, unless you're being weird, in which case, don't do that. But to answer your question,
how can you tell if he's
I can't. I can't tell.
Okay, all right.
That's why I said I appreciate the question, unless you're being weird. In which case, don't do it. Don't do that. In which case, don't do that. Okay. Feet, Eric, and I've done the research on this extensively. Feet are gross. They're gross, and the problem is there are people in the world like Lonzo, and the people in the world like Lonzo, they do what Lonzo is doing right now. They think that it is absolutely hysterical to be barefoot, and not just to be barefoot, but to put said bare feet into the lives of other people. And it's it's gross. Lonzo rolls up in here and slides. Fine. I wear flip-flops all the time. But then he and that hobbit Cole Bryson get in, and they're like, the first thing they do is take their shoes off and just roll around barefoot. And they'll put their feet anywhere. Up on the desk, on your desk, wherever. And I genuinely don't understand the necessity of taking your shoe. You're at work. If you're at your house, it's your house. All right. If you're at your house, you're at your house.
Dude,
it's your kingdom.
You've already said you have problems with that at people's houses too. So I mean, here's the thing. I've only put my feet on things when it bothered Rob. I wouldn't normally do that because that's disrespectful to where I work. But feet are made to be on the ground. And, depending on your philosophy on where we came from, either way, feet were bare in the beginning. Were they not?
Yes. You come into the world barefooted. No one is arguing that. No one's arguing. No one ever would.
You don't maybe that's why you don't like kids, because they come into the world without shoes on.
No, I got plenty enough reasons. That's not true. I don't dislike kids. I like kids. You know what I don't like about kids? What I don't like about kids are when they're gross and you parents think it's the most adorable thing in the world.
All right, so here's the thing, and to answer the texter's question, is Rob is weird. Most people, I would say he's the only foot guy in the building, not Rex Ryan type of foot guy, but a guy who has whatever the opposite of a fetish is. That's what Rob has when it comes to
just
feet.
a flat out aversion.
There we
right?
go. There we go. That's a big word.
I don't need nor want your feet around me in any way, shape, or form. I don't. I've never needed them. I don't want them. Keep your feet away from me. You're gross. Okay?
All right.
Stop.
Joe in the stream says you also come into the world naked. That doesn't mean you need to do it at work. By the way, Joe, I wouldn't advise in your line of work to not. I mean, you need
in any line unless
you need some
are
really thick shoes there, and that probably still not going to help you if your feet are in the wrong place.
Unless you are a lifeguard. Wear shoes at work. You're an adult. Be an adult. Be a grown up.
Foot
all right?
model.
Be a grown up.
I mean, there are a lot of occupations where you don't need shoes.
Model.
Yes.
They're
a feet
fine,
model.
Fine. Lifeguard or foot. Here's the thing. You're not a lifeguard or a foot model. You're an executive producer on an adult radio station. Put your shoes on.
Well, it's a radio station. Calling it an adult radio station makes it sound like something else. So
that's a you problem.
And if it was that kind of radio station, then me having my shoes off would be expected.
You, Lonzo, Frodo Reitzel, and Cole Samwise Bryson.
Come on, Frodo.
Put your damn shoes on.
Frodo's down the hallway, and he doesn't wear shoes either.
Him too. Him and his hairy ass little feet. Put your shoes on. All right? Like, I don't know.
He's going to come here and kick you right in the shin. It's going to hurt.
Just hope he's wearing shoes when he does it, because I don't want to touch your feet ever at all. Let me tell you, I've said this before on the show. I'll say it one more time.
UFC fighters don't wear shoes either.
Tell you what, when you're one of them, I won't say anything. But you're not that either.
Can I give you a calf kick to prove that I am?
No,
Okay.
because you're not one.
Well, I mean, I can prove it. Let me
In
kick
your
you in the calf.
very vivid imagination, yes, you're a total UFC badass. But in real life, for at least 9 hours a day,
I will tell
you're
you,
not.
I fought more than John Jones in the last year.
You have?
Yeah.
I don't think you have.
I have.
I don't think you have.
It's at least equal.
That's fair. That's not more than. All right. So the point here
I fought to get up out the bed this morning. I count that as a fight.
To answer your question, Eric, my problem is not like the existence of feet. They're kind of mandatory and necessary for the bipedal apes that we are. Okay. What I have a problem with is that for some reason, feet, like people have just hit this point that they think it's fully acceptable to just roll around with their gross ass feet everywhere as if they don't impact other people. Put your shoes on. You are an adult at work. This is not your house. Other people work here too. Put your shoes on. Stop being and let me take it one step further.
It is my house.
If you're gonna go shoeless around your office, go get a pedicure, you heathen. All right. Go take care of your feet. Because that's the other part, is that the people who do this got gross feet. All right. And for the record,
how would you know? Why are you looking at people's feet? That's weird.
How'd you know what color my eyes are? Why are you looking at my eyes? They're there.
Dude,
they're there.
Dude,
when you prop them up on the desk, they're there.
We've only made eye contact a total of 5 times in our entire friendship. So
that's probably not unfair. I've stared more at your picture on my computer than you. Listen. I need you to put your shoes on. Okay. I need you to put your shoes on. Just stop. Please. I'm asking you nicely. Just stop. I don't know. Texter said, Rob, how much do you twitch when you go to the beach or the pool? See, here's the thing. When I go to the beach and you're walking around in the sand
that
on your
judgmental
bare
voice.
foot and your bare feet or your flip-flops or whatever, when you're on the sand, that sand moves around. It's not like your gross-ass foot particles are in a spot where I'm going to be. And then on top of that, I lay down on a towel or I sit in a lawn chair. And then I go down into the water when I'm ready. In the pool, they literally fill up the pool with chemicals to kill off your gross foot particles. All right?
Well, there are other particles too that it's counteracting.
That's true. Also, wash your ass, children. All right? What's wrong with you people? Listen, here's the fun thing. Every day, I go into the restroom and I do my business and I go to the sink and I turn on the hot water and I wash my hands with soap and water every day. And every day at work, not going to call anybody out, but you know who you are. And out in public or wherever, I use the restroom. I go, I turn on the hot water, I wash my hands with soap and water. And what do I see? But I see that guy who finishes and shakes his thing and then just leaves.
How do you know he shakes his thing? Are you watching?
How do you do it without shaking your thing?
I'm just saying.
If you're not shaking your thing, you got droplets in the underpants.
You seem very accurate as far as your.
There's a reason the expression
here.
is if you shake it more than twice, you're playing with it, because you shake your thing when you're done. All right. Go over and wash your hands, you animals. And if you're not washing your hands, I know for a fact you're not taking the extra few minutes to clean the crack. I know that.
All right. So,
all right.
We were covering all body parts. I'm waiting for him to get the body hair because that's next.
I mean, listen, you want to keep it above body hair, doesn't bother me. All right. Because the gross portions of it are usually contained. All right. Now, if I ever sit down at my desk and there's exceptionally short and curly hairs on the desk, we're going to have a fight. All right. But Lonzo is a hairy individual. I don't think I've ever seen Lonzo's chest hairs floating around in the air.
I'm glad you clarified it was chest hairs. Yes. No, I keep those close to the vest.
Put your shoes on and wash your butt crack, America.
I'm pretty sure. I wish you'd stop with the crack talk.
I don't know. It's a real thing. All right. We're all adults here. Everybody's got a butt crack and it gets dirty. Take care of yourself.
So we got a guest coming in 2 hours, and they're probably listening on their way and going, yeah. No,
I am going. Orange Cassidy, if you happen to be up this morning and listen, be prepared because I'm going to ask you about personal hygiene now. All right. I'm going to ask you about personal hygiene at this point.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Why? Why? We're all about the people around here.
He's a guest. I don't think you ask people that kind of question. I just don't. It's your entire last 5 minutes was gross.
Yeah. So are people who roll around in the office with their shoes off like they own the place.
By the way, my shoes are not off now, but I'm tempted to take them off in defiance of the toes are over there.
No need. Just put your shoes on. Put your shoes on. Wash your hands. Wash your butt.
I'm also very tempted to reach my naked toes underneath the console here.
See what happens to them. See what the hell happens to them if you do.
You ain't that quick.
See what happens if I look down and I see your gross toes hanging out.
Here's what's going to happen. It's going to jump scare him, and he's going to fall out of his chair.
Yeah, that's it. Put your shoes on. Stop being gross, people. I'm asking you very nicely. Put your shoes on and stop being gross, you weirdos. Just put you're an adult. You're in an adult environment. Put your freaking shoes on.
I like a lot of people, I'm grateful that I don't live in Rob Brown's world where Rob Brown makes the rules because it would, I guess would be a clean world to you, but the world doesn't work that way. Do your thing. You've said that many times, but apparently it doesn't apply when it comes to feet.
Your
booty.
Listen,
apparently
do your thing until it impacts someone else. Then stop doing your thing. And when you're rolling around barefoot with your gross ass feet, you are now impacting other people. Stop doing that. Be better.
All right.
Be better.
Next time we're live on remote, I want people to come in and do foot fives with me.
You're weird. You're weird. All right. This is not what was supposed to happen here.
I tried to get you to stop. You just kept going.
Mr. Persnickety says a texter who says, an aversion to feet, but loves consuming random bananas off the floor of a public restroom. I don't know if you're calling Mr. Persnickety or you're calling yourself Mr. Persnickety, but individual who sent this text, you're a bad person. You're a bad person and you know it.
Did they spell Persnickety right? I'm not sure how
Texter said, wow, get in my truck and getting hygiene 101 from Rob. What happened to sports radio? So many bad things. It
is back to school time. So, hygiene is a good part of going back to school, apparently. So.
Texter said, so Rob, do you make the fiance wear socks when y'all have adult time? No. Because I love my fiance. And you know how you can tell I love my fiance? Because if she says, hey, will you rub my feet? I will do that for her and no one else on earth. If Scarlett Johansson was like, will you rub my feet? If Rhea Ripley was like, would you rub my feet?
Ugh. Oh.
All right, I do it for Rhea Ripley. And my fiance, but that's it. That's the whole list.
There's got to be some dirty feet.
That's the whole list. Feet. Now Lonzo's got aversion to feet. It's gross. Now it's a bad thing.
Gross from head to toe. That's what I'm guessing.
You're gross.
Whatever.
You're gross.
You've got a weird affinity to goth
feet?
chicks.
Yes, I do. I don't know what you want me to say. I saw Blink 182 last night. Pretty damn good. Pretty good.
What's that have to do with goth chicks?
Punk chicks.
Okay. All right. Okay.
What do you want? All right. Coming up at...
Were they all like 53?
You're gross, you're weird, and you're rude. You just racking up the adjectives this morning. Orange Cassidy coming up at 8:30 this morning. Make sure you're here for that. Is AEW Dynamite and Rampage both getting filmed tomorrow night at the Bon Score Wellness Arena. Looking forward to that. Coming up in the next hour, we have got the water cooler cheat sheet. We've got your interviews with Cade Klubnik and Don Munson coming up.
Allegedly.
Do the sports flash. Do the sports flash.
I'm going to do it shoeless. The United States women's basketball team opened up their Olympic Games with a dominating yet boring 102-76 win over Japan. It would have been more exciting with a couple other players on it. The Americans scored 64 points in the paint, including Asia Wilson with 24 and 13 rebounds, while Brianna Stewart chipped in 22 points and 8 boards. The Atlanta Braves made a trade before the deadline, acquiring outfielder Jorge Soler and right-hander reliever Luke Johnson from the Giants in return for reliever Tyler Matzek and prospect Sabine Sabalas. Hey, make sure that you tune in this afternoon, 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show. It's still new because it hasn't been 3 years yet. Wire to Wire, Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun. And I don't know if Cole's back or not. And it's all Wire to Wire.
Fell in love with the girl at the rock show.
And she sounds like she's doing traffic from her house.
For the News Talk 98.9 WRD Traffic Center, I'm Laura Houston on the fan.
I don't know, Joe. Why is there a peach on there? I don't get what's that supposed to be. Here's how old I am. Got excited yesterday. They added a DG Market down the road from me. Yeah, I mean, went in there. All the shelves aren't stocked yet, but it's pretty high class for our area. I'm excited about it. It's clean. You know, it's fancy when they take the Dollar General out and just make it DG. That's a Rob Brown move right there.
Change the font.
Because you complained about feet. That's why. The world is raging against you.
Fell in love with the girl at the rock show.
Had you? No, you hadn't seen them before, right?
No, I haven't.
So you don't know if there was a drop off or not.
In the live performance, no. However, it's pretty freaking great.
I know, Steven, right? They are nice. Thank you, Jacob. I'd never been in one of those markets before. We live out in the woods, man. When they add something like that, it's fancy.
Fancy. Oh, you fancy, huh?
Minute and a half. What are you doing? That's the one I'm talking about, Joe. That's exactly the one I'm talking about. Went in there yesterday. It's a little odd. It only has one entrance, though. But, other than that, it's nice. Will it remain nice 6 months from now? Will it be as nice? I hope so. Oh, ho, 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 ho. He hasn't been inside there in a long time because I usually go the opposite direction. I usually don't go that way, Joe, but my wife heard that it was open, so we went that way just to check it out. And it's technically closer than the other one. I like how they can put Dollar Generals like within a mile of each other.
There's probably two just within probably a mile and a half of my house.
New Life in the first break. It probably makes sense where you live, but you know where I live, there's woods. Oh, look, Dollar General. Woods. Look, Dollar General. No restaurants. Got plenty of Dollar Generals, unless you want to eat at a gas station. But you know.
Tis indeed a good morning. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. How's everybody? We good?
Let's dance.
What?
Let's dance.
Oh, let's dance again. Got it. Yep, for sure.
Let's dance.
7 o'clock in the morning. Spectacular, of course, as always, to have you guys with us. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, is here with us as well. You want to be a part of the radio show? Now is a wonderful time to do it. A spectacular time to do it. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is there for you at 844-326-3663. 844-FANFONE. If you'd like to get at us in that direction, you can text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. You can tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet Lonzo at Lonzo on Word. You can tweet us both and everybody here at the station by getting at us at The Fan Upstate on X. Live stream is up and running for you as it is all 4 hours, all 5 days of the week by going to The Fan Upstate on Facebook or YouTube, The Rob Brown Show on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, and joining the live stream there. Do want to remind you that coming up in just under an hour and a half from right now, we will be joined on the show by All Elite Wrestling's Orange Cassidy. Two-time
I'm a little nervous.
AEW.
I'm just a little nervous because he's high strung, and I'm not sure that I can match that energy.
I mean, we're gonna find out. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit. Like what a character, right?
I hope he comes in and he puts his feet up on the desk because that's what he kind of does.
He does.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be rude to a guest. Okay, I wouldn't be rude to a guest. I'm a better person than that.
I got an ottoman in the office. I could bring it in and put it right over there.
No, if he does it, he's going on the desk.
Okay, because I just want to keep our guests comfortable.
If he does it, he's just going to go on the desk. And again, I shan't be rude to a guest.
Pretty high desk. I made sure I put the chair down so when he put his feet up, they would really be up and in your face, sort of,
Because again, you are being mean and rude this morning at the same time.
No, I'm trying to make our guest comfortable when he comes in. I'm accommodating.
That's it. I'm looking very much forward to chatting with the Orange Cassidy coming up this morning at 8:30. But we obviously have a lot of things that have to happen between here and there. I've got your interview coming up in the next segment with Cade Klubnik, the starting quarterback of the Clemson Tigers, and then we will address that interview. To wrap up this out, we will talk with Don Munson, the voice of the Tigers, after that. Orange Cassidy coming up as well. Final hour, a lot of NFL because, and you may not know this, but that's why you're listening to this show. The NFL's Hall of Fame game is coming up on Thursday evening. Ladies and gentlemen, there's not another Thursday night sans football until late February. Huzzah.
I mean, you can talk. I can let it go, but I mean,
No, I'm happy to. I don't think this song has ever been more justified than after the sentence that I just said. Never more justified than once you realize that we don't have another Thursday without football until February.
And I will tell you, at least the first Thursday night game looks like it's going to be pretty good. Maybe we get some good Thursday night games. I think it switched last year. I thought we started getting some good Thursdays, but Sunday night was not that good.
We did start getting some we got some.
They wanted to keep Al Michaels awake. That's it's just like we got to get some better games for Al. He's
Freaking
falling
Al,
asleep,
dude.
Herb Street can't keep him up.
Al Michaels is a legend and also totally checked out. My man got his Amazon check and totally checked out. So, yeah, I'm hoping we're going to get some better Thursday games this year. What I do know is, as of right now, I'll take whatever you want to give me. All right? Thursday, Hall of Fame game, preseason football. I don't give a rip. Give it to me. Inject it into my veins. We got Thursday night ball, and I can't wait.
And it's what? Texans Bears, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, that's looking forward to seeing year 2 of CJ Stroud.
Looking forward to seeing year 1 of Caleb Williams, for sure. That's going to be a fun match. It's going to be a very fun, very interesting matchup. So we'll talk some NFL ball in the final hour show. But before we get to any of that, ladies and gentlemen, we got to start with this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
"These are going to hurt you, sir."
Take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
The water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports this morning, as we are just a wee bit behind. What do you say we dive right in with item number 1? Major League Baseball trade deadline is this evening. 6 p.m. is the last opportunity for Major League Baseball teams to go ahead and make the moves that they believe will add them into the race for World Series contenders, or to keep them there. Last night, we ended the trade deadline eve with the move by the Atlanta Braves. They went out and they got Jorge Soler. You all, if you are a Braves fan, will remember that Jorge Soler was a massively important part of the Braves' run to a World Series in 2021. Soler came over from the Royals, became an integral part of the lineup, and in Game 6 of that World Series against the Astros, had a home run that I believe is still orbiting planet Earth at this point. Jorge Soler joins the Braves along with right-handed relief pitcher Luke Jackson. Jackson was also a member of that Braves World Series team. In return, the San Francisco Giants are going to pick up Tyler Matzik, a left-handed relief pitcher, and infielder Sabine Ceballos. He is, of course, a prospect, a minor leaguer. I'm very lukewarm on this move for Atlanta. All right? I'm very lukewarm on this move for Atlanta. On one hand, you need an outfielder. You got a lot of guys that are dinged up out there. You need an outfielder. And Jorge Soler is that outfielder. This is a dude that you can stick out there while Ronnie is out for the year, while Money Mike is still working on coming back. There's a lot of opportunity here for Jorge Soler to come in and be a dude. It's also a bat. Now, he's only got a dozen dingers on the season, but he is batting .240, which right now puts him honestly towards the top of offensive production for the Atlanta Braves in his entrance or his return to the ATL. But outside of that, like, is it big time? Is it something that is like, oh, the Braves are back, baby? No, not really. Not really. The Giants are offloading. That's why they went with this, to move those guys over. It just kind of is what it is. Other moves around the deadline, Frankie Montas is headed to the Brewers in return for Joey Weimer and Jacob Junis. The Brewers needed pitching. They got pitching. Now, Montas, not a huge move. A 1-year, $14 million deal for the Reds this year that the Brewers are going to pick up here. Their rotation with a 4.1 ERA has them 16th in the majors. They're also getting volume out of this in terms of innings pitched. Why? They've had to dig deep. They've had to go with Dallas Keuchel amongst others because they're getting decent production but not great length out of their starters. And that's why they go in this direction. Ahmad Rosario is going to move from Tampa Bay out to the LA Dodgers. The Dodgers did the same thing last year. They traded Noah Syndergaard to Cleveland for Ahmad Rosario. Rosario left in the offseason. They bring him back again this time in return for Michael Flynn. Pretty even move overall. Yusei Kikuchi will move from Toronto over to the Houston Astros. This is a prototypical move for Houston. Kikuchi is a guy that's okay. He's okay. He's not blowing you off the page, but the Astros need a little depth. They are still waiting on Justin Verlander to come back. They do have Framber Valdez and Hunter Brown as well. They've got Ronel Blanco in that rotation as well. Kikuchi gives you a stable middle of the rotation guy. Lane Thomas is headed from the Nats to the Guardians. Justin Turner from the Jays out to the Mariners. The Dodgers picked up Michael Kopech as well in a 3-team trade that also involved Tommy Pham being sent from the White Sox to the Cardinals, and the White Sox basically picking up a list of prospects and some cash considerations from the White Sox as well. Ty France moving from the Mariners to the Reds in return for Andrew Salcedo. Michael Lorenzen going from the Rangers to the Royals. That's the moves we got last night. The deadline again today at 6 p.m. We'll see if anything else pops up. Let's go to item number 2. The U.S. Olympic women's basketball team got their 2024 games underway yesterday, and they smoked Japan in a game that was not particularly close. 102-76 was your final in this one. Stop me if you've heard it before, but Angel Wilson, pretty good at basketball. 10 of 16 for 24 points and 13 rebounds as well. You got 22 out of Breanna Stewart, 11 from Plum, Ionescu, and Griner as well. Everybody else in the single digits, but they didn't really need anybody else to do anything else at this point. They just straight up overwhelmed the Japanese. Japan was able to keep this thing relatively close. They were down 7 after the opening 10-minute quarter. But that had more to do with the fact that the Americans shot just 4 of 20 from the three-point line. 4 of 20 from the three-point line. That's got to get better. They did shoot 55% from the floor, including that 4 of 20 from deep. So the snipers going to have to sniper better moving forward. But as of right now, the Americans with a nearly 30-point win last night in game number 1 of the women's run to a basketball gold medal. Again, about as good as you could ask for in that spot. Let's go to item number 3. Item number 3 is effectively going to be the medal count for the Olympics moving forward. 20 now after picking up another 8 total yesterday, still sitting on 3 gold medals in the men's 4x100 meter freestyle relay, the women's 100 meter butterfly won by Tori Husk, and women's individual foil fencing, Lee Kiefer won gold in that. But we do now have 8 silver medals as well as 9 bronze medals for the Americans so far, and starting to put a little bit of separation between us and the field. There are a few countries, including France, Japan, China, Australia, and South Korea, that have more golds than we do. But the overall medal count heavy in favor of the Americans. 20 total medals for the U.S. The next closest team, France, who picked up their 16th medal yesterday. Japan has a dozen, as does China. Great Britain has 10, 9 apiece for Australia and South Korea, 8 for Italy, 5 for Canada, and everybody else has 3 or fewer so far in these games. Obviously, this thing going all the way to, the 16th of August or something like that. So there's still a lot of events taking place between here and there, but the Americans now jumping out to an early lead. The majority of the 20 are bronze, but the Americans lead the medal board right now. When we come back here in just a minute, as I mentioned, got the opportunity to talk to Cade Klubnik, the starting quarterback for the Clemson Tigers this season. We will play that interview for you when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
We like.
All right, guys, quick read and we're back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you.
But
can, because we got it from Getty Images. We're licensed
Oh, okay.
to use. Last week, ACC Media Days up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Thursday was Clemson Day, which means Dabo Swinney and Barrett Carter and Cade Klubnik and some other folks, Don Munson, all came through. Got a chance after the show was over on Thursday to sit down and have some conversations with the fellas, including this year's starting quarterback for the Clemson Tigers, Cade Klubnik. Here is last week's interview with the young man that will be under center for Clemson this season. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upside. Happy to be joined now by the starting quarterback for the Clemson Tigers, Cade Klubnik. Sits down with us for a few minutes. What's up, big fella? How we feeling?
How we doing? I'm great. Thankful to be here.
Year 2 for the media day. All right, spinning the car wash. How we feeling so far? You're kind of the face of the program now, fella.
No, it's been great. Obviously, my second year here, and obviously a lot more comfortable just kind of being in this environment, and it's great.
Talk to me about that word comfortable, because I think the more we have talked about you and your career and your development, that's a word that keeps coming up. Like, will he be more comfortable in the offense? Second year under Garrett Riley, second year as the full-time starter. So is Cade Klubnik more comfortable where you are with this program?
Yeah, absolutely. People don't talk about it enough, the ability to be in the same program 2 years in a row. That's one thing I got to give props to guys that are bouncing around schools every other year. I don't know how they do it. Being able to be in the same program and the same offense is it's so helpful, because I felt like by the end of the year last year, I was just now I knew my progressions the best I could ever do it. And like being able to do that at a very, very high level, which I felt like I was doing the last 5 games of the year. So that was incredible, and it's been a great offseason. We had a really good spring and a really good summer, and we've just been going to work. That's all it is. Early mornings, late nights, we've been working.
Dabo just walked by and bumps you in the chair, and you're just going to let him walk away like that?
Yeah, how about that? Now he's just sitting on his phone.
Cade Klubnik, starting quarterback for the Clemson Tigers, here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Talk to me about your offensive coordinator, because last year I know that there was talk about, okay, is it going to be an air raid? Is it going to be a ground? I know he's kind of called it a dirt raid a couple of times, which I absolutely love, but it was time for him to get comfortable in some new digs in this program as well. How has y'all's communication this offseason helped you to grow with each other in what this offense is going to shape up to be this year?
Yeah, it's been great. I think that Coach Riley and I's relationship on the field has been great, and just the way that we've been able to truly talk about things and just develop more and kind of what I want in the offense and what he wants, and being able to find that middle ground. And but we're just always on the same page. And I love him as a coach. He's maybe one of my favorite coaches I've ever had, and just the leader that he is to us, it's incredible.
I'll tell you something that stood out to me. A couple of weeks ago at the open house, we got the chance to talk to Dabo. We had Don Munson, voice of the Tigers, on a little while ago. We talked to Garrett at the open house, and one of the things that all of them has said is figuring out what Cade wants in the offense, what Cade is looking for. Is this thing being catered to you, or is it kind of like an open communication? Like, these are the things I'm very comfortable with. These are the things I want to see more of. How is that shaping up so that this is a Cade Klubnik offense?
Yeah, I think that's something we'll definitely work on throughout the fall, and take what we've been doing throughout the summer and see what I like, see what I don't like, and kind of give him my opinion on that. So at the end of the day, we've got to run what the players, really love. And Coach Riley has such an amazing offense that it's very player friendly in terms of checks and abilities to do so. So, I love his offense and the way he runs things, and it's great.
Talk to me a little bit about the man who's going to be behind you in the lineup, Phil Maffa at running back. Had a kind of a breaking out in the bowl game last year. Been a lot of talk about him. Don Munson said a minute ago, don't be shocked if you see that cat up in New York City at the Heisman celebration. Talk to me about Phil Maffa and how critical he's going to be in making sure this offense keeps defenses honest with that run game.
Sheesh. Don Munson was spot on. That's a good way of putting it.
I like it.
I wouldn't be surprised with that either. The ability that, he can go run the ball for, 150 yards, 200 yards a game, but he can catch the ball too. He's athletic, and he can go out there and run some routes, and he can do things, with his hands and be able to put him in different scenarios. So, just super proud of Phil, and he's I mean, Phil is literally the kindest person I've ever met in my whole life. If any of y'all ever get a chance to just talk to him, he is literally the kindest, sweetest person I've ever met. So just love Phil and the relationship that we have.
It's interesting because the folks that I know of that have talked to him, when I've gotten the opportunity to talk to him, kind of quiet, reserved dude.
Yeah.
But then you put the football in the gut and he runs like he hates everybody.
Yeah. Phil he gets on another level. I don't know what it is, but I'm not questioning it. I'm going to be him. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, if he's setting a pass block for you, I'm sure you kind of want that. You kind of want that film off of.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the wide receivers a little bit, because obviously that's a position that you've got some guys, and I know Burning School's kind of like that hybrid tight end, Troy Stiletto, a lot of expectations there. How have you been clicking with the wide receivers through the preseason, getting ready to head to camp?
Yeah, we've had a great offseason. Just feel like the chemistry that I've built with my guys. We'll go routes on air and not drop a ball. So just being able to just continually, build that relationship with them has been awesome, and just super, super excited for them.
One of the things that I've listened to Dabo say for as long as I've been covering this team is, man, we're worried about the mentality in the clubhouse. Like, forget everybody on the outside, forget the commentary, whatever. How big is it for you this year to have that team mentality, have the boys in the locker room that are able to ignore all the outside noise and get dialed in on making this thing Clemson football at its best?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's the people in that facility and the guys in the field and the coaches on the sideline that's all that matters. I mean, you got the 11 guys on the field and you've got the coaches calling the plays. And other than that, no other voice. I mean, it's crazy to sound, no other voice really matters, because, those are the guys making the plays. That's what we need to be listening to. We need to be listening to our coaches, and we need to be listening to our mentors and our life coaches in the program and the guys beside us, because you just got to cancel out the noise. People are going to be, hating you when you're doing bad and loving you when you're doing great the next week. It's the same people talking both times. So, you just got to listen to people that are talking the exact same to you, no matter if you're doing great or bad.
I like that. All right, August 31st, you guys open up with Georgia. We all know what Georgia's been the last couple of years. I've talked to Dabo about it. I talked to your boy a minute ago, Barrett Carter, about it. To me, this game is a huge opportunity for you guys, not in terms of win or loss, but to announce to the country, to the nation, this is Clemson football. This is who and what we are. What do you guys do to prepare yourself to take on a team that is as talented as Georgia in a neutral site, and make sure that when that game's over, everybody knows this is Clemson football?
Yeah. We've had a great year off season, and we've taken the momentum from last year and have carried that every single day for probably the last 200 days. And we haven't skipped a beat, and we're ready for a great season. And we know that Georgia's going to be a great competition. They've been one of the best teams in college football the last couple of years. And, we want to have a great week one for sure, but we're more focused on having a great season. That's what we're really focused on. So we're focused on having a great year, and that's really it.
All right, last one, and then we'll cut you loose because you've got the car cycle to go through. Your man just told me a minute ago his answer. Best college football video game player on the team is?
Oh, Barrett Carter.
Listen to
overall.
Him. Listen to
He's
him.
right by me, Barrett Carter.
Listen to
oh
him.
My God, see that belt, bro. Oh my God.
All right, listen. I'm gonna give you 10 chances against him. How many can you beat him?
In what?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm beating them 9 out of 10.
Not. You got an eye roll out of that. Cade Klubnik, starting quarterback for the Clemson Tigers. My man, thanks for coming by. Good luck this season, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it. That is Cade Klubnik from the Clemson Tigers here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. So there you have it, our discussion with Cade Klubnik last week at ACC Media Days. Couple of things, and I will start with this. Dude was Lonzo, and I'm just going to keep it a buck on this. Completely checked out, right? Like he just I think he's tired of being asked the questions. I really do. I think, and I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here and say, dude's just locked in and ready to play football, because he, like, you could tell when we were getting towards the end of the interview, and if you were listening, you may have heard it, But you ask him a question and he's just like, yeah, Georgia. Yeah. We had a great off season and we carried the momentum and, we just want to go. It was, and I get it. It's coach speak. My man's doing 47 interviews in a row.
These guys are conditioned is the wrong word. They are taught before they go to these things to expect certain questions, and here's how we expect you to answer. And some guys can make it sound more natural than others, but of course they've been told, hey, they're going to ask you this. Here's the Clemson way to answer, or here's the Georgia way to answer. Here's the Florida State way to answer. Here's the Ohio State. I mean, all schools, when they go to these things, they talk to their players beforehand, and because they don't want them going out there and giving bulletin board material or saying something that, is not what the message that the coaches want out there. So of course it's going to be coach's speech because they're coached how to say it. The most natural thing is when you talked about the video games, and then you got a glimpse of who he is without, doing what he was taught to do.
I don't think that's wrong. Scratch that. I know that you are right. You are correct.
He is not any different than any other player. I'm not singling him out as far as that goes, but that's how that works.
I am going to say you are correct, but also it's further than that to me. Because we also spoke with Barrett Carter. And if you guys are interested, I'll play that interview. I may just post it on our social later on. Barrett Carter, linebacker for Clemson. Barrett Carter, to me, was far more involved in the interview, right? Like Cade, I think it wasn't just the coach speak. It was, if I can be honest, and again, this is not anything I'm holding against the guy, not anything I'm upset about. I get it. Like I said, my man had 2 press conferences and breakout interviews and 30 different radio stations to do an interview with that day. But by the end of that interview, he was almost dismissive. It was less, I'm giving you the coach speak answers that I've been coached up to give you, and more, dog, another question about Georgia, really? Like, it wasn't we had a good off season and we carried the momentum forward and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. It was like, and I'll say this, again, I wish I would have gone live on camera or recorded it on camera, because at one point during the Georgia interview, during the Georgia question, when I was wrapping up the question, and again, I know it wasn't anything that was wildly compelling.
I want to say your question made it sound like that you knew they were going to lose. So I think that bothered him.
Maybe it did, and maybe that's it. And again, I'm not even saying this isn't a little bit on me. It may have been. You may be right. But I asked that question, and the question effectively was, what do you guys want to do in this game on August 31st? What do you guys want to do in this game to announce to the country that Clemson ball is back? And as I was asking that question, he leaned back in the chair and legitimately rolled his eyes. Legitimately rolled his eyes over. And so I am putting my mindset or assuming that he is in the mindset here of, I'm so tired of questions and I just want to play ball, because it almost came across as a bit of an attitude. And I get it. The guy's been listening for a year and a half about how last year was his fault.
Yeah. And I'm glad he had a little bit of an attitude. I mean, he needed to. And again, the way you asked the question, probably not something that he's asked in other radio stations. That's all I'm going to say. They're going to be a little bit nicer.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And you could have been meaner how you asked it. You were very careful, but it was obvious that you were saying, hey, you're not going to win against Georgia.
No, I'm not going to go that far.
That's what I heard.
I think what I meant was, you guys are dogs. You know you're a dog. I know you're a dog. How are you going to go in there and say, we're not underdogs, we're still Clemson, we're still on top? But like I said, it was a back in the chair, the eye rolled. It was just very interesting, the kind of way that he delivered that attitude. All right. Your text, welcome, 71307. Start your text with Fan. Clemson fans, your reaction to that discussion with Cade Klubnik when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Here's my thing with that question. You should have just came right out and said it. Hey, you're not supposed to win this game, because you implied that how you asked the question. And I think that question, if I were him, would have annoyed me to death.
I said nothing about score line assumptions.
I know,
anticipation,
but your omission was loud.
What was I supposed to say?
I think,
hey, bud, do you think you're going to beat Georgia?
No,
yes, of course I do. That's why I play football.
Here's what I think you should have said. Hey, the world thinks you guys can't do this. What do you guys think? I mean, of course, he's going to give coach a speech. He's not going to say, oh, we're going to win this game. But at least you give him the opportunity to say why they're going to win, as opposed to it looking like you're saying you're going to lose. How are you going to look good in losing? Because that's what it sounded like. How are you going to look good in losing? That made me like him a little bit. The fact that you said he rolled his eyes and stuff, because that meant he got what the question was and he didn't like it. And I think it would have been awesome if he just got up in your grill and said, so you don't think we can win? I think that would have been amazing. I know, and he would have gotten all kinds of trouble for doing it. You and I have talked many times about how when people say we can't do something, how it bothers us. This is a guy who seems like he's the same way.
So
doesn't mean they're going to win, but still, they can't go into that game believing they can't win.
No, and I think I asked the question the way I asked the question, more along the lines of, what is your identity? What do you have? Like, how do you feel you're going to be looked at and thought of after this game? And what are we going to see on the field that says Clemson football is back? And if he wanted to come at me, like, I'm a radio dude. We put on a mic. We expect to be come after a little bit. My intent was never to say, oh, you're an underdog. How are you going to not do that? Because, again, I'm not going to ask, can you beat Georgia? Yeah, of course he's going to say, yeah, we think we can. So would any school playing any other school? I wanted to give him the opportunity to express, is there anything within that game that night that Clemson fans are going to be able to latch on to and say, okay, we're back?
That, and I know we're on stream, but honestly, that's the only question I didn't like. All the other ones talking about Maffa and everything, he sounded real natural and everything, but that one really bothered him.
Yeah, it absolutely did.
And I think if you're going to do something to bother someone, just go ahead and slap them. I mean,
it was
instead
never
of being
intent.
Nice. It seems nice and underneath. Just go ahead and slap them and see how they take it.
I mean, you've met me before. That's not how I do interviews. Even if it's someone I don't like, that's not how I do an interview.
He's not saying he doesn't like K-Club.
Correct.
Of course, what do I know? I'm horrible at interviews. I plan on getting better and like right before I retire. I think I'll practice with Orange Cassidy. Well, they keep showing races and ain't no Americans in them. I don't care.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan of State. Lonzo and I were having a discussion off the air, but on the stream, and you should be watching the stream, facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, YouTube, The Fan Upstate, search and subscribe. You can also check out the Rob Brown Show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We stream the show live every single day across all of those platforms and pages. We were having a discussion during the break where Lonzo said what he heard from the question that I asked Cade Klubnik was, hey, you guys can't win this game, so what are you going to do within it to identify yourself? You guys are the dogs. No one believes you can win it. What are you going to do to kind of show that you're them? You're still here. You're still Clemson. You're still, a top tier program. And let me be clear. My question was not intended to say or imply any of that. I think it would obviously be dishonest if we sat there and went, oh, you guys are every bit as good as Georgia. Right now, there's nothing to lean on that says that is the case. So my intent there was to allow Cade Klubnik the opportunity, should he elect to take it, to say, hey, in that game we want to be extra physical. We want to own the line of scrimmage. We want to do this. We want to do that, whatever, right? It was to give him the opportunity to say, screw that. We're going to beat him. We can beat him. We're gonna throw for 1,000 yards. We're gonna put 78 points at whatever, right? It was designed to give him the opportunity to kind of define what Cade Klubnik, the starting quarterback for the Clemson Tigers, expects out of said Clemson Tigers in that game. But for whatever reason, that question really bothered him. And Lonzo said it was because it was kind of a slap in the face. It was kind of a question that implied you guys can't win this game. So what do you need to take a moral victory away from this, right? What do you need to walk out of there, even though you are going to lose? What do you need to walk out of there having something to grow on in a loss? Good. Wasn't the intent. Wasn't what I wanted it to be. And if it was taken that way, then it's fully understandable why it was that Cade Klubnik slouched in his chair and rolled his eyes at me. All right? But that's not what it was intended for. What it was intended for was to give him the opportunity within the context of the one game that I wanted to specifically ask about, the context of the biggest contest on their, or the most difficult contest on their schedule this year, to give the starting quarterback the opportunity to say, here's what we want to accomplish in that game. We want to get Maffa X touches, or we want to have this percentage completion percentage, or I want to be responsible for this, that, or the other. Whatever, right? Like, I wanted to open the floor for him to say, when Clemson takes on UGA at the end of next month, to get everything started up, what I expect out of us is blank. And he wanted no part of that, right? He wanted no part of that. He rolled his eyes, he leaned back in the chair, and he started saying, again, just the dictionary of coach speak, just a list of coach speak phrases. We had a great off season. We're carrying the momentum over. We're holding ourselves to a higher standard. All right, fine. And I don't have any issue with any of those answers. I know that very rarely are you going to get a question like that and have a guy say something that's going to get me splattered across the front of Yahoo Sports website the next day. It's not really how that game gets played. But like I said, I could take this one of two ways. And I am giving Cade Klubnik the benefit of the doubt here. The negative way that I could take it is this. Cade Klubnik is, got a bad attitude. is the way. In fact, I have worked with people before who I shan't name, but I've worked with people before. That's what they do, right? They say, oh, he's got a bad attitude. He's a sourpuss. He's got a bad attitude. He's negative. You know, this was an opportunity for him to promote his guys, an opportunity for him to talk about how wonderful things are and how the offense is flowing and how everything's coming together. And he gave us none of that. He just gave us a litany of coach speak phrases. He gave us none of those things. That's not what I'm going to do. What I am going to do is go the other direction. What I'm going to do is I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt and believe that this came from a place of, I'm tired of these questions. I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of being asked the same things in different words. I just want to strap on the helmet. I want to lace up the cleats. I want to put the shoulder pads on, tie them up, clip them on, get onto the field in Atlanta, Georgia, and I just want to go play football. That's going to be my takeaway. Because what I will say is this, and here's the editorialized portion of this segment. If it really is attitude-based, I've already told you, I think DJ Uiagalelei failed at Clemson because of his attitude. Okay? Now, I give him credit too. I don't think that attitude issue was a DJ Uiagalelei caused problem. I think that attitude problem was caused by Big Dave, and I think that attitude problem was caused by Dabo Swinney, but the attitude problem existed nonetheless. If Cade has an attitude problem, not the same type, but if he has an attitude problem with the way that he views the offense, maybe Dabo. I pointed out to Dabo in the interview, my man, you are throwing a lot of blame from last year on Cade Klubnik, directly and by name. If that is having an impact on him, that is changing the way that he sees the game, approaches the game, maybe enjoys playing the game, then it will be another long season for Clemson.
See, I think it's more about expectations, lofty expectations, not only from a team, which you should have those, but from a fan perspective because of two quarterbacks. And those two quarterbacks, until they're way in the distant past, until Deshaun Watson and Sunshine are way in the past, any quarterback coming into Clemson has to live up to those expectations. And they're lofty. They really are, because those two guys were special. And I think there was spoiling that went on, thinking, well, the next guy's going to be special too. DJ's not a bad quarterback. Neither is Cade. They're playing at a D1 school. You've got to be pretty good to do that. But neither one of those guys are Sunshine or Deshaun Watson.
I agree with that. And again,
you have to hear the noise. I mean, how do you tune that out if you're that player?
That is kind of what I was for a while there, kind of what I said I thought was the primary problem for DJ Uiagalelei, right? I think Big Dave and Dabo kind of convinced DJ that he was that guy. He was the heir apparent to the Clemson quarterback throne. You put on this helmet, you wear the single-digit number, you earn the QB1 title, and you just ascend to astronomical heights by way of being here. And it turns out that ain't how it works. That's not how it works at all. And so if that was the expectation, and then Cade had a year last year that didn't go as expected. And as I mentioned, because he did it at the open house a couple of weeks ago, he did it in the big time press conference, he did it in the breakout interview, and he did it on our interview. Last year did not go expected, and on top of that, when asked about it, Dabo said multiple times, it was on Cade. He had too many fumbles. He had too many TFLs. He had too many bad picks. He had too many bad reads. He made too many bad decisions, yada, yada, yada. And I asked the question, Does that weigh on him? Is he hearing that? Because I asked Debo, how do you, as a coach, on one hand, sit here on this radio show wearing that headset and say, Cade did this wrong, and he 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 did this wrong, and then turn around, look that guy in the face, and encourage him, and help him grow, and help him become more motivated, et cetera, et cetera. And Dabo's answer was like, well, it's part of coaching, and he's a good kid. He gets it. And then I do this interview with Cade where he is very clearly, to me, subjectively, flustered, checked out, short on attention. And I'm not saying he's that way to football. He was to me. He was to our interview, and that's all well and good. But I heard that. I saw that. I watched that out of him, and I was thinking to myself, if that kid brings this mentality as a quarterback into the offense, you guys are getting hammered this year.
Which they might do anyway, but I understand where he's coming from. How many times have you made me roll my eyes?
Like 3 today.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel a kinship with him now. I probably won't make fun of him anymore. On the stream, Steven says maybe he heard the kitten. I doubt that he did, but if he did, here's the thing. Rob is not the negative guy about Clemson. That's me. And I'm never going to change. If they tell me to stop doing it, I probably won't be on the air anymore. And that's fine. I've earned my disdain, or you guys have earned my disdain. But Rob has never done that before.
And also, Rob was one-man banding this thing. I was recording, editing, putting this whole thing together. Alonzo wasn't even there to aggravate Cade.
Yeah,
so we're clear.
Because I said no, because I didn't want to go.
He did say no.
I said no. And for other reasons, but I said no. And I don't know what questions I would have asked him. But I may have jumped in when you asked a question and made it worse. I don't know. Maybe.
Like I said, I don't know enough about the kid. I know I've interviewed him 3 times. We interviewed him at last year's ACC Media Days. I interviewed him in a Clemson postgame last year, and then I interviewed him at this year's ACC Media Days. And what I will tell you is, and I'm not saying this is inherently bad because I don't think we know yet. Last year's ACC Media Day, Cade Klubnik, and this year's ACC Media Day, Cade Klubnik, were different Cade Klubniks. They were different guys. And of course, it's a college kid. He's growing up, right? He's going through his college experiences. He's learning about himself as a football player and a dude. Of course, his mentality is going to change. But last year, he had what we were all kind of jokingly describing. A friend of the show, Susan, described last year at ACC Media Days, Cade Klubnik is having big golden retriever energy. And as soon as I started talking to him last year, I'm like, oh, I get it. That's right. That's a good description. This year, it was more like golden retriever, Rottweiler mix energy. Like he was still Cade, like he was still like, oh, you heard at the end when we asked him about the college football take. He kind of loosened up and laughed a little bit. Right. But when we were talking ball, there was I don't want to use any particular word to describe it, but there was a different energy about Cade Klubnik and the way that he was talking football this year as compared to the same event, same time, same interview last year.
Everybody in every job, I can't say everybody, the majority of people, I believe, feel beat down at some point and feel like, no matter what, people are coming at you negatively. You're doing your best, but it's not good enough for everybody else. And you just get tired of being asked a question. That's what it sounds like. I mean, you start losing the, I'm so excited to be here. And you get more of, oh, great. What did I do this time? And hopefully that doesn't translate to the field.
Texas said he is the leader of a Division I football team that is supposedly going for a championship. He should be able to do the interviews, no problem. A team reflects its leaders, end quote. Texter said, I'm not a Clemson fan or Georgia fan, but before you guys even started talking about it, I said to myself, he just insulted the quarterback by implying they had absolutely no chance. By the way, he worded his question. Wasn't my intent, but I understand. Texter says, to me, it sounded like you asked a coach's question to a player. Well, he's the quarterback. If there's one guy I'm going to ask that, it's the quarterback, right? Back after this for the third hour. Orange Cassidy joins us in a little over half an hour here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
The Atlanta Braves made a trade before the deadline, acquiring outfielder Jorge Soler.
Roll the R.
Yeah, I can't do it. And right-handed reliever Luke Jackson from the Giants in return for reliever Tyler Matzek and prospect Sabine Cabales. Soler and Jackson were both members of Atlanta's 2021 World Series winning team. Soler has a dozen home runs and a 240 average, while Jackson has struck out 13 and 9 innings of relief work in July. One of the most anticipated events of the Olympic Games, the men's triathlon, has been delayed from today's scheduled start due to the water is bad. Happens almost everywhere the Olympics goes. I mean, fix your water, people. Hopefully they'll get that together eventually. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a whole lot of fun. That's all Wire to Wire. I don't need a hug, Steven. I'm good. Sorry, Steven. You'll get it on the next one.
He's with them first.
Okay. I'm going to have to send an email to managers downstairs and ask them to ask people to stop sending business during shows because we are concentrating on our show and business should be conducted after the show's over.
Yes. And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show continues. It's the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great one Lonzo on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM. If you wish to be a part of the show, now's a great time to do it. Actually, now is your only time to do it this hour. Because coming up here very shortly, we are going to be joined at about 8:30 by All Elite Wrestling superstar Orange Cassidy. Joining us here on the show, AEW in town tomorrow evening at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena, where they will put a live edition of AEW Dynamite and then run AEW Collision as well. Both of those shows will be airing this week on TV. Dynamite Live, Collision on Friday evening, both emanating from the Well. Lonzo, I will be there. Lonzo up in the air about it. It's very late at night.
Why you try to throw me under the bus like that?
Well, I was about to say Lonzo and I will be there, but that's not what you told me.
I am trying to decide, and if I do come, I won't be there for the entire time because I am not like Rob. I can't operate on 4 hours or less of sleep. I cannot. I will fall asleep on the way home and die, and I'd rather not die. And I kind of fall asleep sometimes on my way home now. So I can't risk that. But I might show up for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Because she kept me waiting. Blink-182 last night. Excellent, 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 excellent. And while we're talking about wrestling, may I just say I appreciated the boys immensely coming out to the Undertaker's walkout music. I mean, I have to assume at this point that they have permission, and I'm not about to get Blink-182 in trouble.
You might. You might. I mean, I mentioned that earlier, and you're just throwing it out there. Maybe everyone, don't tell anyone.
Yeah,
kind of thing. And then you got to throw it out there on the airwaves.
Just a couple of dozen thousand people last night watching it as they came out to Takers. It's pretty sweet for a group of dudes who kept making jokes about how old they are, and on a tour called the One More Time tour. It is pretty funny. It is pretty funny. Phenomenal concert last night. Got home yesterday about 11 p.m. or so and called it an evening. And then got up this morning ready to rock and bleeping roll.
So this is where you're bragging about how you can, operate on less sleep.
As somebody once famously said, I still got it.
I don't know if you knew this or not, and this may come as a surprise to some people, but I'm a grandpa. Okay. All right. I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. Not a young grandpa either. Well, maybe a little bit, but still.
I still got it, is all I'm saying. I can still go. I still got that dog in me. All right. So we went rocking and rolling last night. Tonight, packing up. Because tomorrow night, we've got AEW in town at the Well. Thursday morning, do the show. Head down to Clemson, South Carolina. By the way, stay tuned, because coming up at some point in the next 2 hours of the show, Zoe and I are going to give away a family 4-pack of tickets to Thursday's Carolina Fan Fest at Clemson Memorial Stadium.
I just want to point out you hitting the mic is just as loud. You might as well just yell in it. No, that's loud, dude. That's extremely loud.
Points of emphasis. It's all for the heightened drama.
Move your head, not the mic. I mean,
I don't have to move. I'm above that. We will be giving away a family 4-pack of tickets to Carolina Panther Fan Fest this Thursday, early evening into the evening at Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina. If you would like to attend, if you'd like to come put eyes on Pro Bowler to be Bryce Young this Thursday.
Is that a guarantee? Is that a lock? Is that a stone cold lock? Is that a Rob guarantee? Should people put money down on that right now? Because I'm sure the odds are in your favor if you do it. You're going to make a lot of money.
I was going to say in your favor, as in if you bet it and it happens,
you're going to make
you might be very rich.
A lot of money.
No, I'm not there yet, but it's more to do with the offensive line than
Bryce. I think you're the only one who's ever said that so far in the history of his NFL career. So,
I don't think so.
So you got that going for you.
I don't think so. I'm sure there's a couple of diehards out there.
No, there aren't. No.
You know who else thinks that he could be that guy? Former Panther linebacker Thomas Davis Jr.
What do you think expectations should be like for the Carolina Panthers?
I think the expectation level should be very high for this football team. And for me in particular, I'm excited to see the quarterback play. Canales was with Geno Smith in Seattle, watching the maturation process for him. Then he goes to Tampa as the offensive coordinator, watching what he was able to do with Baker Mayfield, a guy who we had right here, didn't see those same kind of abilities. And Baker became a Pro Bowl type player for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and got the big contract. And now he has the opportunity to work with a young kid in Bryce Young. Just seeing the maturation process from year 1 to year 2 under Dave's tutelage, that's one of the things that I'm really excited about, because we know that Bryce Young, being the number 1 overall pick a year ago, we know that this kid is talented. But it's all about surrounding him with the right core of people.
Yeah, that one.
Do we know that?
Yeah.
Do we? I think we look at CJ Stroud and know that, but we don't know that about Bryce Young yet.
So wait.
Yeah.
You think you look at CJ Stroud and you know he's got talent, but not Bryce Young.
Yes.
You don't think you can look at him and what he did in college and know he's got talent, but you definitely can with CJ Stroud.
All right,
you can't say that about a guy who won a Natty, who won a Heisman, who won a Maxwell, who won an AP College Football Player of the Year, who won a Sporting News College Football Player of the Year, who wore the Davy Bryan, who won the Manning, who was a consensus All-American, who was an SEC Offensive Player of the Year, who was a first-team All-SEC player, a second-team All-SEC player. You can't look at a 60% completion percentage guy on a natty team and go, yeah, he's probably got some talent.
So, dude barely hits over 50%, and you're excited about
60%.
Dude, that's closer.
60.
That's closer to 50 than it is 100.
I'm sorry, 59.8%.
Oh, that's even worse. So here's the thing. Let me use the Rob Brown argument. Look at all the talent that was around him. Of course he did that well. That was your excuse about CJ Stroud and how well he did at Ohio State. Same thing at Bryce Young. He was surrounded by.
I never said CJ Stroud wasn't going to be good.
Yeah, you've come at me about it's because you had this and this and this and this. Yeah, okay, we'll see. I hope you're right, because again, the Panthers are my favorite NFC team, but I'm going to be a little more realistic than other people and say they're not that good right now, and I want them to be better, and they're not. And I remember when they were pretty good. I do. I remember when they went to the Super Bowl twice. I do remember that. I remember the quarterbacks then, and I don't think he measures up to them yet. Hopefully he gets there.
Let's be abundantly clear here.
You made me tap the desk. I never tap the desk.
Feels good, doesn't it?
No.
Feels good.
No, it's bad.
Feels good. As Dave Chappelle once said, if you got hate in your heart, let it out. Let it out. Let's be clear about something. This is not me saying, oh, they're good now. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. What I am doing in this spot is saying they're not good yet, but they're better than a lot of the media is giving them credit for, A, and B, they're going to be better than you are giving them credit for. This is why when the win total was at 4.5, Rob Brown hammered the over on that total and feels real good about it. And this is why now that the total is at 5.5, when I'm on the BetQL network, I still say I'm playing the over, because I think 6 wins is very in play for this team. 7's going to be an ask. Not impossible, but an ask. I think 8's probably about the absolute best case scenario maximum. But all of those things being put together and talked about, the one thing I am going to say is it is way too early to look at the quarterback of this football team and write that dude off. It's just way too early to write that cat off at this point. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to do that. So all I'm saying is Thomas Davis Jr., former Panther linebacker, is saying what I've been saying the whole time. Now, is TDJ a little bit biased? Yeah, he's at Carolina Panther reunion day.
Thank you.
Of course he's a little bit biased. But bias doesn't mean wrong. Bias doesn't mean wrong. And all the things that he has pointed out are all things that I have been saying for a hot minute now. that you can look at his college career and go, the kid's got the talent. In fact, I would be less aggravated if you said, look at the kid, he's too small to make it. At least that's a tangible argument that makes a little bit of sense. I don't like it. I still think it's wrong. But at least it's an argument that you can look at it and go, quick, name me the other 5'10" quarterbacks that have made it. Right? It's a short list, to be sure.
I don't think he did that on purpose.
What?
It's a short list.
Told
you.
Damn it. It is a short list. To be fair, it's a short list. However, to say that is the reason that a guy that has the list of accolades that I just read to you seconds ago won't make it.
How many accolades did your boy down in Florida have?
Timothy Terrific?
Yeah, that would be him.
Talking about Tim Tebow?
I mean,
See,
coming out of college, how many did he have?
There is a massive difference between Tim Tebow and Bryce Young.
Height, yes.
No, it had nothing to do with the difference between 5'8" and 6'3". Let's not pretend Tim Tebow was a monster.
Dude.
He was literally my size. He was my size. Granted, this was up here.
Yeah.
But my size.
I think Chris is 5'10". So you guys walk down the hall together and we'll see the difference because there's a major difference.
The major difference in these cats was that you could look at Timmy Terrific, the way he threw a football and ran a defense and go, that dude didn't make it by being an NFL caliber passer. That dude made it by being a freaking machine and running around through and over people in the process of getting guys open by being a threat. BY's not that. He only made it to where he made it because he's a passer, because he's an elite passer, because he's a guy that sees the field, recognizes the field, and executes based on it. Timmy Terrific was a dude who did not succeed because he could throw the ball. He succeeded because he had ways of working around the inability to do it.
All right. That was just my first example. There are many examples of guys who had all the accolades that you talked about Bryce Young having going into the NFL and did nothing. So those mean you show me what you're doing on the NFL field. And until he wins a playoff game, Tebow's a better quarterback in the NFL.
Stop it.
Without a doubt.
Stop. You're high. That's ridiculous.
No, I'm not. I don't need that sort of thing.
That's ridiculous. Tim Tebow's a guy who got carried to one playoff win by an exceptionally talented defense built around him.
Who carried him to throw that touchdown that won the game? Who carried him?
Yes.
Was he on someone's shoulders when that happened?
A pass to a guy 20 yards down the field who was wide, butt-ass naked open.
Here's the thing. Someday you got to let that go. I mean,
I'm not the one who brought it up.
You got to maybe a strong hug. I don't know. There's something out there that's gonna let you. Maybe you just need a face to face, and you can tell him how bad he is.
I've had a face to face. I've literally driven him around town. He's a great human being. He's all the things. You spend 15 minutes with Tim Tebow, and your life's better for it. And I used to be like, "Shut up, Gary Danielson, you idiot!" And then I spent about 3 hours with Tim Tebow. He's a stellar human being. Has nothing to do with his complete lack of mechanics as a functional NFL quarterback.
And Bryce Young has equal problems with his feet. If his feet gets fixed, we'll see what happens. But if they don't, he's just as bad at what you're saying as Tim Tebow was.
The problem with Bryce Young's feet are that he has to use them behind the subway turnstiles of an offensive line he was asked to play behind last year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, make whatever excuses you want to for him. That's fine.
Excuses versus reasons.
When his feet are fixed and he has a good offensive line in front of him, if he still makes those mistakes, then you're going to be forced to say he was a bust.
Correct.
By the way,
correct.
I hope that doesn't happen. I want him to win games. I want them to be great. I do. I just don't see it.
I mean, fair. Wrong, but fair. Again, my dude got stuck last year behind a joke of a line. And then because this is just what we do, it was, quarterback stinks. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we were just doing that about Clemson. So, I mean, because that's what you do. The quarterback gets all the praise and they get all the heat. And sometimes they deserve it.
Short segment when we come back. And then Orange Cassidy of All Elite Wrestling joins us live in studio coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
You see.
All right, guys, quick read and we're back. Stay right there for me. enough. Whether it's the right play, the smart play, the ethical play, whatever you want to use here. We are willing to allow grievances to go and ignore them largely because of the fact that we love sports. What are you talking about here, Rob? Well, I'm ever so glad you asked. Remember not terribly long ago when we got told that people were going to boycott the National Football League and then the ratings were through the roof? Remember a couple of years ago when we got told that people were going to boycott the National Basketball Association and the ratings went up? Remember that? Well, I was told that people were going to walk away from the Olympics for whatever reason. Guess whichever reason you want to what you want to use here. I was told people are going to walk away from the Olympics. Well, according to the Sports Business Journal, NBC Peacock got a combined 10.9 plus million viewers for Team USA Basketball's opening round matchup against Serbia on Sunday. Just to give you kind of an idea of what that means and where that is, that was more viewers than Game 4 of the Celtics Mavericks NBA Finals, an elimination game. That was more than the Golden Globes. That was more than Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Panthers and the Oilers. And it was more than the final round of the Masters, Sunday round at the Masters.
Okay, so you just gave comparisons to, I think these were historically low ratings for all those other things that you mentioned. And then you threw that. So it got more than a bunch of historic lows. Okay. And you just mentioned one specific event where the most stars are. Duh. I mean, how is swimming doing? How is gymnastics doing? How is tennis doing? How are all those sports doing?
Again,
how did the women's basketball game do ratings wise?
All part of, and this is true, I did the research on this, the Olympics, all of those events. And I don't have any sort of hot take or controversial opinion on this, other than I saw a bunch of people saying, that's it, I'm out, I'm not watching. I don't care for whatever reason. Again, that's not accurate. That's not what happened. I'm sure that there are some people that aren't. What I am going to say is, lovingly and respectfully, as I always do, the people who say I'm boycotting these sports, I'm boycotting sports, they're one of two things. They're either boycotting, but they are a statistical insignificance, or they're lying. One or the other. It's one or the other. Because this is a number.
Those people who say, when this person's elected, I'm moving to Canada, and they're still here.
Sure.
I don't know why they're still here, because a lot of people wish they would have moved to Canada. Although Canada, they probably could have done their show from Canada, but still.
Canada's a lovely country. I can't wait to visit. I've heard nothing but good things.
How do you know it's
Canada.
lovely? You've only seen pictures. Maybe the pictures are a lie.
Because both my brother and my fiance's sister have visited in the last year and a half and said it's gorgeous.
Okay.
There's a place called Banff.
I've heard of Banff.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is. Do they speak French there?
It's in Canada.
Well, yeah, but are they a part of the French-speaking side?
I believe that is the eastern side, and I believe Banff is more central Canadian. I could be wrong about that. The point here is we love our sports, and we're not going anywhere. We're just not. We're going to keep saying we are, but we're not. USA, USA, USA.
You know what? I wish you'd just go to Banff.
Me too. It's on my list.
And just stay there.
Okay, well, now you're just being mean.
And become a Mountie.
Now you're being unnecessarily mean.
I think I mean, with the weight loss and everything, I think you could work as a Mountie.
I probably could, honestly. I wouldn't be as good of a Mountie as
You've been on a horse before, right?
Wouldn't be as good of a Mountie as the Mountie or the guy who did the Mountie better than the Mountie, John Moxley, when he did the Mountie, which was one of my favorite wrestling segments of all time.
You'll be somewhere in between the two, maybe.
Fair enough. Hey, speaking of wrestling, see what I did there? Coming up in the next segment, to the end of the hour, we will be joined by All Elite Wrestling superstar Orange Cassidy. Coming up next on The Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Yeah, the most appropriate music possible, I think. You hear this music on Dynamite, Collision, various pay-per-views around the year run by All Elite Wrestling. Why? Because AEW's most popular wrestler. I'm confident in saying it. I believe it to be true, and I don't frankly care what anyone else has to say. Orange Cassidy joins us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. What's up, fella? How we feeling, man?
I think you and I feel the same. That I just don't care what people say.
You've made a whole career out of it. I'm trying my best. People won't give me money for it like they do you. So congratulations on that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say to that.
No, I mean, brag about it if you want to.
Bragging's not my style.
It's fair enough.
There are a lot of people out there who you are their hero because, you know, that's how they live their life day to day. I have a major question for you because I think all of us have lost their best friend before, and sometimes you work with them and you have to go to work. You seem to have lost all your best friends. How are you holding up?
Well, I was doing well until you brought it back up.
I'm sorry.
No. It's a nightmare. It's terrible. I fell into a deep, dark hole when the people that you came in making your living with just decide to beat you up and punch you in the face. Luckily, I now have a group of dudes that I roll around with. We're called the Conglomeration. And, you know, when you're at your low point and you feel like you're alone and no one's with you, you know, you feel like a tendency to like shut down and not talk to anybody. But I started talking to some of my boys and they were in the same place that I was in. So now it's me, Kyle O'Reilly, Mark Briscoe, and Tomohiro Ishii that are formed the group known as the Conglomeration.
Is Willow Nightingale, is she like a honorary member or
she is I feel like she's in it. You know what? I'm gonna go on record and say she's in it.
Officially.
Yeah, let's put it on the record.
Put it on the record. I love Willow. She's the best. Here's my question. When you have what you're going through and then you find this group of fellas, does punching people in the face count as like a good therapy? Most of us lose the job if we find therapy in trying to knock other people out. Is it therapy for you?
Well, luckily it's my job.
Fair.
So it's my job, so I'm allowed to do it. And yes, it feels very good.
I like that. All Elite Wrestling's Orange Cassidy here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
I was just going to say there's some people around here I'd really love to punch in the face, but I don't think that would be allowed.
Well, we've asked for sanctioned matches against coworkers, Orange, and we keep getting told no. Is there any advice you would give? Like, do we need to sell tickets to it? Would that make it easier?
I don't know. Make them sign a piece of paper. Isn't that usually what happens? People sign papers and then they can fight each other, or I don't know.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I really don't know the right way to go about that.
Orange Cassidy from All Elite Wrestling joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. AEW in town tomorrow night. Dynamite and Collision taking place at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena. Speaking of the Conglomeration, you guys have a match against the Beast Mortos, Roddy Strong, and Roosh tomorrow. That's a pretty solid lineup of dudes you're going to be standing across. Talk to me a little bit about getting ready for this one.
So here's the thing. I didn't know I was going to be wrestling two dudes that have horns.
Mm-hmm.
And the Beast Mortos literally has horns on his head. And Roosh comes out with horns on his head sometimes. And he's called I'm going to try my best not to get gored tomorrow or impaled by a horn. But that's when I'll just tag in Ishii or Mark Briscoe.
You know, speaking of Mark Briscoe, how hard is it to not get hyped when that guy is talking?
I mean, when you see, I am hyped. That's my hyped face. He's just he's very inspirational, and he's a great motivator. And who doesn't love Mark Briscoe?
I think one of my favorite things about All Elite Wrestling is that, and this has been kind of a tagline for a while, it's a wrestling company that's run by wrestlers, by guys that get to go out there and do what they love to do and put on matches. And Briscoe seems like one of those cats, but it feels like a locker room full of men and women that are loving what they're doing and being part of this company. What's that like for you to be a part of that environment?
Well, it's like I wouldn't exist without AEW. I don't think any other place, any other wrestling company in the world would have let me do what I wanted to do, and take a risk with me and just letting me be different. And I'm surrounded by people in a locker room that it really like feels like a team. It feels like we're all trying to help each other out, and we're all trying to beat each other up the best way possible. And it's just I'm very lucky every day that AEW exists, and I'm a part of it.
Greenville, this area is big time for wrestling, has been for a very long time. I started watching wrestling with my papaw back in the 80s because I'm really old, and have been a fan ever since. And this area is really like that. And there are some people out there listening, possibly if they listen to this show, they know how much we talk wrestling. We talk wrestling all the time. But there are some people out there who have never been to an AEW show. Why should they come out to the Well tomorrow night and watch the show?
Well, I always say you're going to find something that you like in the show, and you're always going to be. I've never had one person come to a show and say, "Oh, that was a bad time. I'm never going to come back." They always come back. There's a little bit of everything in an AEW show for you. Like if you like monster trucks, like Monster Jam, if you like a rock concert, if you like a fashion show, if you like live theater, if you like stunts, if you like fighting, if you like maybe even magic, there's something in there for everybody that you're going to have a great time.
Orange Cassidy from All Elite Wrestling here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upside. I want to talk about Orange Cassidy in terms of how did you get to be like, how did you take this personality and turn it into every bit the antithesis of what people think of when they think professional wrestlers, loud, colorful, over the top. And here comes this guy who's he's just Orange Cassidy. I don't know how else to put it. How did that come about for you? And more importantly, how did you get AEW to go, yeah, we love this, let's go bananas?
Yeah, been wrestling for a very, very, very long time. And you are told a lot of advice, you told a lot of things, and you try things that you think everybody would like. You're just trying to take someone else's advice. And I just decided after a while that it's not working. So I'm just going to do what I want. And I'm not the biggest, obviously. I'm not the strongest. But I found a way to make me different and relevant enough that I stand out. It's AEW took. I've known a lot of these guys for a while. My former friends, especially Chuck and Trent.
Jerks.
Well, Chuck's not a jerk. Chuck's just, his career's just over because Trent ruined it for him.
Way to go, Rob. You're so insensitive, man.
It's just bringing up these emotions. I just knew a lot of these, but I don't think they knew. AEW knew what this was going to be. I think I really owe it to the fans for taking a liking to me. And I mean, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be sitting here. So.
You are a two-time international champion, including what I think was one of, for me, the most memorable title runs maybe of my lifetime. It's just an absolute workhorse title run. How important was that to you when you're carrying that title, when you're carrying that championship, to be out there, to be wrestling, and to get as beat the hell up as you were, to make sure that that belt was placed out front of that show the way it should be? How impactful for you was that, the long international championship title run?
It was just very ironic that the wrestler who doesn't like to wrestle had to wrestle. I take a lot of pride in it. I thought it showed a lot of people the AEW, how deep the AEW talent pool is, giving some people some spotlights that probably wouldn't get spotlights on TV shows that I was able to wrestle. It in life we have to do things that, maybe we don't want to do, but we do it anyway, and we try to get done as quickly as possible. And I feel that as a champion and as a fighting champion, you should fight. So whenever anybody wanted a shot at my championship, I said, okay. And I did it. And I feel like that's what a champion should be. A good champion represents is just doing what you got to do for the job that you have.
For those of you not watching on the stream, you should be on the stream right now. Orange Cassidy, you have I don't know if you knew this, you have a very unique look. And I'm wondering, do you remember the first time you walked in front of an AEW crowd and there was a kid out there dressed like you?
I do. I remember the first time a kid dressed up like me, and I wasn't even there. And then I saw on YouTube that it got like, I don't know how many millions of views it is up to now. But I think the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Cody Rhodes brought this little kid dressed like me. I think it was like the third ever show or something like that. And they brought him into the ring, and it got a huge reaction because he looked exactly like me in just child form. It makes me feel that when I see that, I'm like, all right, this is working. I think people like me.
For sure. Orange Cassidy from All Elite Wrestling here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate AEW, with a pair of shows wrapped up in one tomorrow evening at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena with Collision and Dynamite both. Talk to me a little bit, because you've been with multiple companies throughout your career. You end up with All Elite Wrestling to get to a point where you guys are going to Wembley and putting tens of thousands into a stadium. When you are traveling around the country on Wednesdays and Fridays and putting tens of thousands into buildings to watch the development of your career, was there a moment when you looked around and went, holy crap, this is real? Or has it just been something you love doing and you don't care if it's 5 people or 50,000?
And this question usually comes up for Wembley, right? They're like, oh, did you walk out and you saw like 80,000 people cheering? Like, did it hit you? And my answer is no, because standing in the ring was a giant man holding a fork that he ended up stabbing me in the forehead. I had to fight all these nasty dudes. So the only thing I'm thinking about is, all right, don't get stabbed in the head with a fork. I wasn't successful, but I never really, I just don't think about it. I just do what I have to do. And I feel that's probably not the healthiest thing in the world, but it's kept me going.
Don't get stabbed in the head with a fork. Pretty good life advice for, I'm assuming, anyone's career.
I was going to say, anyone who wondered, what it feels like, I'm just going to take his word for, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You should never stab somebody or get stabbed in the head with a fork. That's the lesson today. That's Tuesday's lesson.
I'm gonna commit that to memory. Has there been a moment at any point throughout your career that a thing happened in a fight, not in a fight, whatever, that it was over and you went, that sucked, never again?
Every time I wrestle.
No, okay, fair enough.
But I do say that a lot. There's so many. Yeah, I don't want to do a ladder match ever again. I don't like those. I don't like getting stabbed. Yeah, how about that?
Fair enough. I think that's the right answer.
All right, some of your signature moves you do with your hands in your pockets. How long did it take you to perfect that?
I just did it one day. I was just wrestling on the show, and I was just like, all right, well, the guy was like, oh, actually, I think it was Marco's stunt. They're just guys messing around, and he was just like, oh, I was like, okay, well, if you're going to take it this way, I'll do it. So I just put my hands in my pockets, and then I just started beating him up. I just did it. And then I realized how effective that actually was to throw people off their game. So, I do it a lot. And also it looks really cool too. You feel cool. Like, I don't need to use my hands.
It does look really cool. I'm very guilty of occasionally stealing that from you and doing it on the show. I do respect it.
Well, he's not nearly as athletic though. I don't think he could keep up doing it.
No.
I'd love to see him try though.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. It'd be like getting stabbed with a fork. Terrible idea. How many things that you have done that become part of your identity as a wrestler are just things that come to you in a ring? You're like, let's see if this works. And then it ends up working because it's Orange Cassidy.
I also think it's just, like I said before, it's like you get a lot of advice and it's all great advice. I don't want to say it's not good advice. Like throughout my career, I got a lot of great advice. It just didn't work for me, right? There's advice for everybody. And that's why I think people sometimes get offended. Like, no, when any advice you are given throughout your life, you can take that and apply it however you want to apply it to yourself. And I have this rule in my head of like, well, if I think this is going to be good, then, and I'm a wrestling fan, hopefully the other wrestling fans will like the same thing. Does it work every time? No, but it's AEW and I'm given the freedom to try. And, more times than not, it works, but yeah, what it doesn't. No one cares. Just standing in the ring with your hands in your pockets.
All right, before we went on the air, we were talking about San Diego Comic-Con. So when you go to something like that, especially something that big, do you get a chance to walk around and look at all the stuff? And if so, what are you into?
I actually, this year I was actually able to walk around and see everything, but there's just so much stuff there, like expensive stuff.
Yeah, we're painfully aware.
And it's like, I don't need to deal with this. Like, the culture of the comics and the Comic-Con culture is a lot like professional wrestling, and the fans are very passionate. We were lucky enough this past weekend with San Diego Comic-Con, AEW teamed up with Adult Swim, the Cartoon Network, I guess you would call parent, I don't know, Adult Swim, and me and Willow Nightingale tagged, and we wrestled cartoon characters in the ring in front of a lot of people in San Diego Comic-Con. And it was quite a surreal experience. You asked me before, it's like, have you ever stopped and said, what's going on? Being in San Diego Comic-Con, right next to the bay, looking around and seeing thousands of people watch me wrestle Mr. Frog was pretty crazy. Because we were trying to win the Adult Swim AEW Battle for the Booty Championship. So, you can Google that.
I'm going to, not on my work computer. Orange Cassidy from All Elite Wrestling here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. You talk about the popularity of wrestling and the crossover audience and all that. As wrestling fans, Lonzo and I both are lifelong. We have felt kind of a big-time resurgence in professional wrestling and the fandom being able to publicly make it known that they're wrestling fans. I've attributed that to the rise of All Elite Wrestling and the rising tide lifts all boats philosophy, that there's just more, it's better, there's more options. If you don't like this, you can come over here and get a different flavor.
Yes.
For y'all, have you felt that?
Yes, for sure. And I think one of my main things was to make, wrestling fans not embarrassed to call themselves a wrestling fan. And I know when you read online, people are embarrassed that I am a wrestler. But I get this all the time when I go to meet and greets. I do to conventions and I talk to the fans, and they're saying like, oh, my girlfriend's here, my boyfriend's here, my mother, my father, my sister, my friend is here because of you. They saw a clip of you, and now they're wrestling fans. And that's the biggest compliment I can get. And I understand I'm not everybody's, for terrible pun, flavor, but I when I hear that, it makes me feel good that people aren't afraid to be a wrestling fan and come out, because I love it so much. I want everybody else to love it too. So, yeah, we're trying to make wrestling cool.
Wrestling is cool.
All right. My favorite wrestler of all time is Sting. What was it like to give your signature kicks to Sting and receive them?
Sting is the best ever. And I'm very, very fortunate that I was able to do that with Sting. And of course, because he's Sting, he did it right back to me. And he even did a lazy chest pound. Like, Sting is the man, he gets it. And then I was able to team with him. never did I ever think I would be teaming with Sting, but it was the locker room was better and became better because of him, and I have so much respect for him.
You've mentioned that you're not just a pro wrestler, but you're a wrestling fan as well. How surreal was that to stand across from the icon and hear the intro and then know that you and he are about to be in a fight either against each other or together? Was there a spot where Orange Cassidy, the professional wrestler, kind of had to like put Orange Cassidy, the wrestling fan, to bed a little bit to make sure you're dialed in on your job?
Yeah, it's like that thing about not really. I was just worried about getting beat up as per usual. So, standing next to Sting, I'm like, all right, well, maybe I won't get beat up because I'll let Sting beat them up first, and which usually happens. So, no, I don't really. It doesn't really hit on me. Maybe it will. Hopefully 50 years from now, but we'll see.
Orange Cassidy from All Elite Wrestling here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Ups. They got another minute or two left as we get set for Dynamite and Collision tomorrow night at the Bon Score Wellness Arena. We get station t-shirts. We have our names on them. I wear them out. My friends give me hell for wearing a shirt that has my own name on it. How do I elevate myself to be able to wear a shirt with a picture of my own face on it and get away with it, Orange Cassidy?
You got to commit. You got to have confidence. People will say the same thing. Oh, you wear your own t-shirt. Well, so I'm going to put my face on it. This is my face. And actually, to tell you the truth, they were like, hey, we need a shirt. So I just took a picture of my face and sent it to them, and they just put it on a t-shirt.
Were you shocked when they said, yeah, that works?
Well, they were like, okay, whatever. We don't care. It's your merch. Like, we don't. And I was like, okay, go ahead. Just do it. They're like, oh, white t-shirt, huh? Oh, the wrestling fans don't like white t-shirts. Well, they do.
Orange Cassidy here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate again tomorrow night. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision at the Bon Score Wellness Arena. Tickets still on sale. You can go to AEW's website and pick those up. Orange, my man, phenomenal to have you in studio. We appreciate the time, boss, and good luck tomorrow night, because I am not envious of you standing across from the Beast Mortos, Roddy Strong and Roosh.
Yeah, me neither. All right, hopefully I'll let Mark and Ishii do all the work.
I feel like Mark's the guy that just rushes head first into that.
He will. You know what? He's probably, you're probably right. Good on Mark.
Orange Cassidy here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Offset. We got to take a break. When we come back, we talk a little NFL football. For the final hour of the show, this is the Fan Upstate. Okay, I just want to go on the record and say that Orange Cassidy is awesome.
He is.
Like, not that I didn't already kind of know he was going to be, but like super is another one of those guys that I never go into interviews assuming that somebody is like, you know, any kind of certain way personality wise. So whenever somebody turns out to be a super nice individual, it makes me happy. And he's another one of those cats that shook my hand, introduced himself, was very kind, very great. You know what he says to me walking down the hallway? He looks at me and he opens his backpack and he goes, "You guys got tickets." And as he's saying that, he pulls out an envelope. He was just going to hand us tickets to the show tomorrow.
You should have took them anyway.
Yeah. I'm not going to do
I mean, there might be some people
That's fair.
that you could, I mean,
That's fair.
you know,
Well,
there ain't no time to be that humble host. We know you're not. You should have took it.
Yeah, dude, he was super, super nice. I very much appreciated that.
And he is a lot smaller than I thought. And so, I mean, some amazing things he's doing for a guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because we're comparing him to Gunther and Damian Priest. You know, the last two guys we've had in here were
massive human beings.
Yes. Another time where I go, yeah, we just did that. That's cool.
All right, I'd just like to go on the record and say that Orange Cassidy is an awesome person and very much appreciate his time this morning, coming in and chatting with us for almost a full half hour there. And let me say, as long as I have been doing this, I have, when it comes to getting the opportunity to interview people, athletes or whatever, coaches, whoever, I do not make any assumptions about them. I don't make assumptions about them because you know the old expression, never meet your heroes, right? Never meet your heroes. There have been plenty of times in this career and outside of it as a person that I have met heroes and they suck, right? They suck. They're mean. They're jerks. And I give people the benefit of the doubt because especially with celebrities, you got to think about it. How obnoxious would it be to go through your life never being able to just be left alone for a minute, right? And I've been places before in different situations where I'm, you know, hanging out with folks or around them, whatever, and people are just constantly, hey, can I get a picture? And it's fine. Like there's a reason that they get to be celebrities, and it's because we want that attention. But it never stops for these guys. And so whenever we are having someone on that is of celebrity status, and I would think that Lonzo and I would both argue that when it comes to pro wrestling, they are indeed celebrities. Whenever we have somebody on of that status, I don't make any assumptions about their personality, especially when you never really know where the line is between pro wrestler and person, right? We have had, Lonzo and I, we have had wrestlers on before, not many, but some that they come in, they sit down, and then they're just here until the interview starts. And then they turn it on when the interview starts, and then when it's over, they're just kind of like, all right, guys, see ya. Orange walked in, opened the door. He's like, hey, man, Orange, nice to meet you. Like he spoke to me, shook my hand, sat down. And then we sat here during the break before we started the interview, and he just starts telling us stories about wrestling cartoon characters at Comic-Con and different things he's been going through as a wrestler and all that. I don't make assumptions about people's personality so that I'm not disappointed when they suck. This dude is a dude.
It was so ironic, and we were talking about it before we went on the air, that suddenly it smelled like popcorn when he walked in the room.
It really did.
And you know what? I had asked Chris Statlander if Sue's minivan smelled like popcorn and she's no longer his friend. It was just a great tie-in to everything, but it was very cool. He absolutely was. And I don't really think we've interviewed a wrestler that wasn't cool, but as far as that goes, he's the coolest.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that there are some guys and gals we've interviewed that you can tell that we're just another stop in the media tour for them. Like we're just another promotional event that they got to do. And that's not to say they're not nice, but they're not necessarily like, excited to be here. This dude was like, oh, these guys like wrestling and I get to talk wrestling with wrestling fans. And he was all about it. We entered the interview and he's like, let's take a picture, right? Like I walked him down to the parking lot to make sure they got out of here safely and weren't locked in the building, lost walking in circles. Orange was very kind the whole way down, shook my hand to give him a for it. Those dudes are like, that's fantastic. And my favorite part of that interview was, and I hope it came across because I'll try to clip it later. But he said, I'm a wrestling fan and I just want wrestling to be cool. And we both were like, dude, wrestling is cool. And I may be reading into it, but I looked over and I kind of saw the smile creep across his face. Like it is a realization for him, I think, that this is a sports talk radio show where we're supposed to be very serious about sports. And we carved half an hour out to talk to him about wrestling and ask him wrestling questions. Man, it was spectacular. Like it was very cool.
Oh, it was. And my favorite part was the Sting answer because I was curious about that. And you could see him not go out of character, but get a little happy about it. The fact, because that to me in Sting's career in AEW, that's top 5 moment for me when Sting was in AEW.
Oh, for sure.
It was just so cool. And to find out that it was organic. I had my suspicions that it was organic, but him saying that makes it even cooler.
It was very cool. So we appreciate Orange Cassidy. We appreciate All Elite Wrestling for putting this on, for bringing OC by today to chat with us again. All Elite Wrestling, Dynamite and Collision taking place tomorrow evening at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena. Tickets are still available if you want to go. I will for sure be there. I'm gonna call the shot that after that interview, Lonzo's
really
definitely
quick,
going.
See, I try to stop you. Really, because you're throwing me under a very large bus, and so if I don't go, it looks like he doesn't like it. And I've told the reason why if I don't go, it will be because lack of sleep makes me mess up. And will it be worth it? Yeah, it will be worth it. More than likely, I'm going. That was my plan. Although the more Rob makes it look like I may not go, makes me not want to go because I'm, a contrarian. I just wanted to shout out to our boss really quick. Not kissing up to the boss because it's not going to do me any good. But I just the fact that we're allowed to do wrestling interviews. I think there are a lot of sports outlets. Maybe not so much now because the popularity is what it is, but before the popularity came back, would not allow such a thing. And the fact that we're able to do that and have fun with it, and as Rob said, carve out a big chunk of time to talk to these guys and girls who basically put their lives out on the line every time they get out there and do what they do to entertain us. And hopefully, maybe one of these guys or girls that are on the air with us will cause someone to give wrestling a chance who hasn't before.
For sure. The reason that in the intro to this show, there are wrestling sound bites is when I came up here for the audition and I got to meet and sit down face to face with said boss for the first time. Somehow wrestling got talked into the conversation. And he goes, oh, you're a wrestling guy. And I said, yeah, big wrestling fan, have been for years. And he kind of laughed about it. And we spent probably 10 of the first 15 minutes we spent together talking about pro wrestling. And so when he put the theme song for the show together, those wrestling clips got added into it. And it's been a ride ever since. So again, Thank you very much to Orange Cassidy. Thanks very much to All Elite Wrestling. Thanks to our boy Roy downstairs for setting this whole thing up for us and helping us make sure this went by. By the way, as Joey B just said on the stream, Blink 182 wants to make an entrance last night. What music do they use? Wrestling music. Why? Because professional wrestling. No, you know what? Because
professional wrestling is cool.
Correct. So thanks to OC, thanks to AEW, thanks to Roy and Mark and everybody for setting that up. That was a phenomenal way to add Orange Cassidy to the friend of the show roster that we have running. By the way, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, back in the ring. Glad to see that. Hopefully she will be there tomorrow night as well. As at this point, like, I got to think, great one. Well, like within the next year or two, I'm relatively sure the entire AEW roster is going to be friend of this because Lance Archer is back. He's a friend of the show. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, friend of the show. Orange Cassidy, friend of the show. Darby Allin, friend of the show. Like half the roster is friend of the show now.
We got to get Briscoe on.
We do got to get Briscoe on.
We have to.
I want Briscoe on a pod because I just want to sit there and go unscripted, uncensored with Briscoe.
Yeah, but see, I want Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly on because the conglomeration, one of the best parts about, obviously Orange Cassidy for sure, but one of the best parts is Kyle O'Reilly's facials, his facial expressions behind Briscoe when Briscoe's going off. They're just awesome. I think it was a Saturday on Collision. He said, "Hold the baby," and he was back there holding the belt like it was a baby. It was great. I really like this group, and I think we kind of broke news. Now we know that Willow is a part of the
officially.
Yeah,
officially. Got to. I got to clip that right after the show is over. That's gonna be our. That's gonna be our regular dirt sheet news maker. From the interviews we do. We always have one. We always get one where something ends up on the dirt sheets everywhere. And I think that might be it. So, by the way, congratulations to Willow Nightingale for being promoted to a full-fledged member of the conglomeration, who we will see in action tomorrow night when All Elite Wrestling, Dynamite, and Collision take place at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena.
She was on my list of people who I wanted to interview, and I was Orange was at the top of the list.
Oh yeah,
and Willow Nightingale was up there too. So who knows? There's still tomorrow.
Yeah, Orange was 100% the bucket list interview from AEW up next. So I'm glad that worked out. That was fantastic.
I was going to ask him, and I didn't know how he would answer it if MJF and Roosh are secretly brothers, because they look a lot. I mean, look at them next to each other. They look a lot alike.
See, I wanted to bring up the fact that MJF at Blood and Guts completely disrespected the international title that, if I may keep it a buck, OC built. That is the title that Orange built, and MJF tossed it into a trash can. Didn't love that. MJF circling all the way back around a full jackass.
There are a lot of questions that we could have asked Orange Cassidy, like has he decided to use the word bruv yet? I mean, there's a lot of things that we could have asked.
I could have done 4 hours. I could have done the whole show. So thanks to Orange Cassidy, All Elite Wrestling, and everybody who helped us pull that whole thing together. We very, very much appreciate it and enjoyed that talk immensely. Let's take a break. When we come back, relax. Stick to sports, guy. We're sticking to sports when we come back. We got some National Football League to talk as camps are open. We are now just a tick over 48 hours away from football getting started. There are 0 more Thursdays without football on them until the middle of February. Let's go. Rob Lonzo and you back after this.
Professional wrestling is cool.
On the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
There's nothing there to stop it. I don't understand. No, I'm not double hit.
All right, guys, give me 45 seconds. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Ray would be livid.
Ray's dead, though.
How pizza cones are made. 10 of 10 would demolish.
Dude, look at that. I mean,
would demolish. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo and you. Be a part of the show. 844-326-3663. F844-FAN-FONE. You can also text us on our text line 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. It is Major League Baseball trade day deadline. Today, the last day that teams can hit the market to add or get rid of guys on their team or make them depart from the team before we really get into the push for the playoffs. The Atlanta Braves have brought back Jorge Soler, added the outfielder back into the rotation. Jorge Soler was, of course, a member of the 2021 Atlanta Braves World Series run. Bravos fans will remember, of course, that towering home run that Soler hit in Game 6 against the Astros on the road down in Houston that ended up becoming, I think, one of the most iconic hits in the history of the Atlanta Braves, a baseball that I believe is still in low Earth orbit after Soler sent it into another galaxy. Listen, man, it's fine, right? Like it's fine. It's an addition that I think is, I don't want to say it's not a good one. It is a good one, but it shouldn't be, right? Is a guy with a dozen home runs and an average sitting around 235. It's fine. The problem is that addition to the Braves lineup still makes him one of the best batters in the lineup. That's not ideal. That's not ideal. That's not spectacular. But it is I hate it, but it is an addition. It is an addition. Plus, you got guys banged up all around the outfield right now. After Ronald Acuna Jr. went down, there's been a string of injuries to outfielders. You needed one. You needed one to allow Ozuna to keep DHing, and that's what you ended up getting with this move. But it does tell me one thing about the future. It tells me that it is more likely than not that this will be the final year of Marcell Ozuna. The Bravos do have control of Soler's contract through 2026. Whether or not he will stay around till 2026 is obviously a question mark, but this does allow you next year, once you get everybody back and healthy, Acuna Jr., Money Mike, etc., to put Soler into the DH spot and have him as a utility outfielder if and when you need him and move on from Marcell Ozuna. Though, again, I feel like if they were going to get rid of Marcell Ozuna, it would have already happened. By the time that next season rolls around, by the time that we get to making decisions about this roster next year, I think the Braves are potentially kind of trusting, maybe hoping that people will have forgotten about the issues of Marcell Ozuna's past. But we'll find out. We'll find out. Let's talk NFL here for just a couple of minutes before we get to a break. Lonzo pointed out last week, and I think it was a good point. A lot of y'all don't necessarily love preseason football, all right? And it's understandable. To me, preseason football is more for guys buried on the depth chart trying to make the team, coaches trying to get a better idea of what their 53-man should ultimately look like, and fans who are more than casual, right? Fans who want to know what their backup left guard's like, what their offensive depth is like as a team. That's who it's for. And we talked about that a little bit. I said, look, next Thursday, now it's this Thursday, is the Hall of Fame game. It's the Texans and the Bears. You're going to get probably a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half out of number 1 overall selection, Caleb Williams. You're going to get a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half out of last year's number 2 selection, CJ Stroud. And then it's on to the backups, right? Because that's what this is for. And Lonzo said, wait a minute, there's one more thing here, Rob Brown. The new kickoff is going to be in play. We're going to get an opportunity to see what teams are thinking about how to work under the new kickoff rules. And I said, Lonzo, you brilliant, brilliant individual, you. Because unlike Lonzo to me, I say nice things to him. So
I deserve that.
So the kickoff rule is something I absolutely do think we'll all be paying attention to during the Hall of Fame game tomorrow evening. Except for maybe not. Why? Because, and I got to thinking about this the other day. Do you want to show your cards in a preseason game? Probably not, right? Like probably in the preseason game, you're going to go with the most basic way that you can to run the kickoff. You're probably going to use something that is very similar to your traditional kickoff lineup. You're probably going to use something that is very similar to what you ran last year. You're probably going to have a standard kick return, or at least as much as one can be under the new rules on, because if I think I have come up with something that is creative and unique and gives me an advantage on kickoff returns when the regular season rolls around, I probably am not going to put that on full display in the preseason and give the game away before we get to the regular season when, hey, maybe I do that unique, special, fun thing earlier in the year, and maybe I grab myself like a freebie tutty somewhere along the line by tricking them, you know?
You know, I agree with you there, but at the same time, think about it. They're practicing this, but they're practicing against their own guys, unless they do it in joint practices, which happens a lot now in the NFL. This is your first real chance in a game atmosphere to go out and see what the other team is doing, even if it is the basic, how they're playing it, because you don't know how the other teams are playing it because there's no film on it. There's none. And a lot of teams more than likely are going to watch the Hall of Fame game Thursday night just to see how two teams handle it so they could get just a little film on it. And maybe they see that and go, okay, we were going to do something different. I think our way is really going to work. Or they see how they did it and went, oh, okay, we need to incorporate that. So I think eyes are really going to be on from the entire NFL on how they handle it Thursday night.
I think so too, because I mean, at the end of the day, we can say you go as close as possible to your old traditional kickoff, right? You go as close as possible to what a traditional kickoff might look like. But at the end of the day, it is not a traditional kickoff. In fact, it is something that, with a few exceptions of former UFL, USFL, XFL players that are in the league, the majority of guys in the league have not done anything like this before. So I get your point. It's like on one hand, you kind of have to practice what your return is going to look like under the new rules. On the flip side, I don't think you're going to see anything that makes you go, holy crap, that's brilliant, right? Because what you don't want to do, like I said, if you came up with a 4 DBs on the outside and then 6 linebackers in the middle, and you think that formation is going to work, or maybe you go with that formation, but you have your outside DBs maybe running almost like passing route combos, right? Like one underneath the other. They're going up the middle. Your linebackers are blocking a certain way. You don't want to put all of that.
You know, you're talking, and all I'm hearing is the emancipation of Puerto Rico.
The annexation.
I'm sorry.
Of Puerto Rico.
I'm sorry. Those are two totally different things.
Very different place.
Yes, they are.
Very different place. I think that what you're looking at in this spot is we're going to get a taste of what the new kickoff is going to look like. We're going to get a taste of how this plays out, how this feels. You're going to get a taste of it. What you are not going to get is anything that is like ridiculously complex. What you're not going to get is anything that Andy Reid drew up some convoluted, really complicated, really technical return that you're going to see in the preseason. So I think much like most of the offenses we're going to see in the preseason, I'm not going to watch them. Like, I don't watch offenses under Caleb Williams. I'm not going to watch the Bears offense to see how they run different stuff to make Caleb Williams comfortable. I am going to make them, I'm going to run this offense as basic as I can just to give him a feel for NFL game speed. Same thing with the kickoffs here.
I'm curious about, will the backlash be louder than acceptance on social media? It doesn't matter, but I'm curious what that's going to be after America gets to see it for the very first time.
I mean, like everything else, it's going to be, you're going to have an initial reaction of a bunch of people going, this sucks and I hate it. It's boring. Like, can we go back to the old way? You're going to have a bunch of people that go, whatever, it's fine. Who cares, right? We're playing football. Who cares? And then that's going to last through the remainder of the preseason. And then September 5th or whatever it is, we're going to get to NFL Week 1. We're all going to turn on Red Zone on Sunday morning, and nobody's going to give a good gosh darn anymore.
Yes. I love the Scott Hansen social media countdowns.
Correct.
I know Josh Pate's doing it for college football, but Scott Hansen's doing it for the NFL. And just, this many more days till, and it's like, hey, it's Thursday.
Have you watched any of the Peacock Red Zone coverage?
No, I keep meaning to do that because I know Hansen's doing it, but I just haven't had a chance to.
I saw a little bit of it. They go quad box. It's pretty good. They go quad box. They'll have
there are a lot of things going on right now as we're on the air. So yeah, I could see why they could do that.
Women's 7-on-7 Team USA rugby up right now 5-0 on the All Blacks of New Zealand. Good start for the American ladies.
Yeah,
they came out slanging.
I need to see a little more physicality though. I want to see some.
Then you just looked at the TV because the girls are after it right now.
Yeah. Now there we go. Now you missed a wonderful little bit of I don't know what it's called, but it looked like an attempted tackle.
It is a tackle. Well, take that 5 off the board because now a breakaway from what I assume is the Tyreek Hill of New Zealand women's rugby.
Yeah.
Just a sprint up the middle for the All Blacks, and now with the kick attempt, they have an opportunity to take or go ahead at this point. So we'll see what the try holds for this one. This is a big one for the American women. They jumped out to an early lead, but just got absolutely cooked on the run back from New Zealand. All right. Let's see. Texture says no one knows enough about the random sports to hop in, but they don't want to use the announcer audio because it's not always in English. Joey B says New Zealand is Alabama of rugby.
I just want to say they showed the back view of her calves. Those things are doing work. That's all I'm saying. You can see the musculature as she's moving in for whatever, I guess it's called a touchdown. What do they call it?
A touch.
Okay.
So that's where touchdown comes from. So I
hope Odie's not listening. He'll hurt me.
Yeah, he will.
I don't. Yeah.
When I lived down in Florida, in Fort Walton Beach, Destin area, when I lived in Okaloosa County, there was an Okaloosa Rugby Association down there, and a bunch of my buddies were in it, played for it, and they also had a women's team. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, about half the women on that team would have beat my ass, and about a half of those I'd have let them. All right, but rugby gals are no joke. Immense respect.
I'm trying to figure out the second part of that statement.
Bless your heart. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Yes, Mayor she's a beast, and I love her.
Did I just miss part of a scrum? I looked up and it was.
Bum, bum, ba-da.
Hey, look at that. Show's almost over.
Yes, it is.
I got to go figure some technical things out. Like I did yesterday when I taught myself how to use Excel. Oh, that was nice. That was a nice tackle. Seriously though, look at their calves. I mean,
I know. There were some women that played
oh,
for the.
that might be a broken wrist. That's not good.
Oh, don't like to see that. Also, that happens a lot in rugby.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's backyard football with different rules.
Yep. I'll tell you right now, it was one spot I had the opportunity to play, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good. Y'all have fun."
I would have loved to play that.
No, you wouldn't have, because it's just incessant, unceasing running.
Right, like soccer. I get it. Believe it or not, you can't tell by the stinking picture today, but I was in shape at one point. So, yeah. There was a time where I felt like I could run forever.
Run forever.
Now I hear a song from Animal Olympics in my head called Run Forever. You ever watch Animal Olympics?
I don't think I did.
HBO used to bring it around every time right before Olympics happened, and it was animals. It was animated. It had a bunch of songs in it and stuff. I always thought it was cool. This one skiing dog trying to find his way back to Dog-Rala.
Dog-Rala.
Yes. Where he got lost in the Alps or something, and he found it. But he came back to ski for his team. Won the gold and then went in search of paradise again. Not going to work, James.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan of State. 844-326-3663, the number. If you'd like to be a part of the program, you can also shoot us a text on the text line 71307, 71307. Start your text with the word fan. Corn Chip Texas Show said, hope Blink was good. Getting antsy watching videos of the first Green Day show of the U.S. leg from last night. Yeah, I'm not sure if Green Day is coming anywhere around here, but that is another one. I'm going to tell you right now, Lonzo, this summer I am deeming the summer of college Rob, because it's just between, Creed, Blink.
You know what? Good for you.
Finger 11.
Because the movies this summer are not good. So, I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine is good, but usually there's week after week going to see movies and it's not there, but it seems like every week there's a concert that you get to go to.
Green Day.
I could go to a bunch of them. I just don't because
Green Day is in Charlotte, August 26th at PNC Pavilion. And I don't know.
Is that where you went to see Creed?
Yes.
So you're familiar with the area and all that kind of stuff.
Now,
cool.
There's good news, bad news. Bad news is that's a Monday night. Good news is I got a lot of sick days. I'm just theoretically, of course. Theoretically. I wouldn't take advantage of that.
Yeah, you don't want to use the MR method.
Because they're also in Atlanta on the 28th of August, which is a Wednesday. That's an opportunity.
Charlotte's closer than Atlanta, so
it is. PNC's not really, because PNC's way up on the north side of Charlotte.
I bet it's still probably less traffic too. There's bad traffic in Charlotte, but it's not Atlanta.
Oh, dude, getting out of PNC was I'm going to say this lovingly, nightmare.
Hey, you don't have to be nice about traffic. Traffic sucks.
That's fair. New Zealand going to go back-to-back touches here, so they will take a 12-5 lead pending the try. And not a real good start for the American ladies on the rugby pitch, 7-on-7, but New Zealand has very much literally
Is it a
wrestled
pitch
control.
though? I think
Yes,
you're
it's
trying
pitch.
to. I think you're trying to combine sports here.
No, it's not. It's a pitch. It's, for the record, it's a pitch in basically every sport that involves a field anywhere else but here, with the exception of baseball. Soccer, it's pitch. Football, it's a pitch. Soccer, it's pitch. Rugby, it's a pitch. So, it's
I'm
just.
still. Part of me doubts it, but
Okay.
not enough to research it because
Who cares that much, right?
I don't.
Who cares that
We
much?
just had Orange Cassidy in here. Why would I put effort into
That's
it?
also true.
I mean, that's an amazing guy, and and look what he's able to get done.
Let me
with
ask you
little
this
effort.
question. The NFL has announced that this season, both teams will be required to have their head coach do an in-game interview during the season.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. I think it's dumb. I really do. I mean, I get why they're trying to do it. These guys don't want to do it. And this is all because of the Miami coach being entertaining. Because if he wasn't so stinking
Damn you, Mike McDaniels.
Yeah, if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't be doing this. I seriously, this is not a joke. I think it's because of him that they're doing it. They expect, and Belichick's gone, so they don't have to worry about that, and
God, Belichick's in-game would be so incredible.
yeah, so
So incredible.
They don't have to worry. I mean, it's just, I don't like it in any sport. I think it's useless, and you're not going to get. There might be there are outliers like Popovich or someone like that who will actually tell you what he thinks, including about how dumb it is to be doing an interview. But it's just, I mean, what's the purpose? What's the point? You as a viewer, are you that interested in seeing them not really say what you want them to say?
They're doing it because we as sports fans, we want as much access as we can get, right? Like that's just the reality.
When you and I are having a bad day, I mean, we're going at it and everything. I don't want someone coming in the middle of it going, okay, how'd you feel about that first segment? You guys were really battling out there. How can you make the next segment better? It's going to be shut up and get out of the studio.
You're not wrong. But also, let's keep in mind that at their core, sports are entertainment, right? That's what these people, these head coaches, are only multimillionaires and only capable of being the celebrity status that they are because we buy 80,000 tickets per game.
But what's
and watch.
entertaining about an angry guy who doesn't want to? I mean, again,
many things.
No, McDaniel, awesome. Okay, Andy Reid, who knows? Probably will be fairly entertaining, but the demeanor of I think the majority of those guys, they're just going to be annoyed.
I'll tell you right now, I would pay a subscription fee to be able to listen to Dan Campbell's headset when the Lions are losing. I would pay $9.99 a month just for access to Dan Campbell's headset.
All right, as someone who's produced for half his life, he would make me nervous.
Correct, which is why
and there's some other guys that would make me. That's another thing. I mean, are they gonna allow some things to slip through? If not, you got to be quick with that button with some of those guys.
First off, and I've said this in the past, as an NFL fan, give me as much uncensored comment as you can come up with.
Will they be fined if something?
That's a good question.
That's not supposed to be aired.
I would assume so, but again, they are entertainers. Granted, they're coaches. But they're entertainers. Everybody that plays, coaches football is an entertainer at the sports core. They aren't sports if we're not entertained by them. So for them to say, you got to give us the interview. So basically it's this. In the past, coaches previously had the choice to talk to sideline reporters either on their way to the locker room at the end of the first half or heading back onto the field to start the third quarter, but neither option was a requirement. Mike Florio reported that this is set to change. Florio said that when he was doing the deep dive into the Sunday ticket trial, he found out that NFL VP of Broadcast Rights Policies and Compliance, Kathy Yancey, announced a change to the league's policy regarding coaches' media obligations during games, which will include both coaches in every game being required to talk to reporters during the game. Florio wrote, quote, "This year we have a new policy going into effect where all of the clubs are going to have to make a head coach available live for an interview during the game. Each team has to provide a head coach, one in the first half, one in the second half, and that's for all the teams, and it's available for all TV partners," end quote. The justification from the league was it's good for the broadcast. It's good for the fans. Fans want to be closer to the game. They want to get to know the players and the coaches. It's very important that they kind of have that relationship and they want to hear. It's really good sound. If you're a football fan or even if you're a casual fan, it's great to hear from the coaches. There's a lot of emotion. Okay, I'm going to push back on that last one a little bit. I think for a lot of coaches, there's a lot of emotion. But yeah, I can't imagine being the reporter that would have drew hoodie for this assignment. Hey, go talk to Bill. Now, if I asked you right now, what coach do you think will be the most entertaining and the least entertaining in the league?
Well, I've already said who the most entertaining will be. It's definitely Mike McDaniel.
How about that? See, I'm going Dan Campbell. I'm going straight to Dan Campbell. I'm going with Mr. So we will bite your kneecaps.
You're about the anger. I'm about the snark. And I prefer the snark. I think it's funnier. So, I mean, I think I'll be more entertained by McDaniel. The worst, who's Chicago's coach now?
Eberflus.
Yeah, I think that's it.
It's not a bad pick.
If he walked in the room, I'd have no idea who he was.
Eberflus is probably going to be up there. I'm going to say Dennis Allen is going to be up there. You know who?
Any chance for you to diss your guy?
He sucks at his job and he's boring. What do you want? I'll tell you who I think I will find very interesting. Dave Canales. Because obviously been watching a lot of camp coverage, a lot of post-practice interviews and whatnot. Canales is like not a big spark plug, right? Like he's kind of a low-key, I don't want to say low energy, but he's not really like, blah! Like he's
like you.
He's very, yeah. He's like very level-headed. He's like very quiet and stable, and he like doesn't get too excited or too depressed about anything. He's just kind of like, let's go play good football. I'm interested to see how that works out.
Sounded like it was a good spot.
No,
man.
It was.
You just kept going in defiance of whatever.
Because Orange Cassidy told me earlier that it is a good thing that I don't care. So
he did. I was there. I heard it. All right. The first thing that's Xing is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Get to the chopper. It's Arnold's birthday today. He's 73 years old.
He's 77.
He's 77 years old. Go with him if you want to leave.
Most underrated Arnold Schwarzenegger film.
Predator.
I'm going to go with Twins.
Ooh, DeVito.
Yeah.
That's a real good pick.
All right. The next thing is Xing, and I don't know.
Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, but yeah, that was it's not a tumor. Yes.
Not a tumor.
All right. Girls have and boys.
I was going to say it. And then I'm like, nah, he'll bounce me.
Yeah, I probably
He'll bounce
would.
me.
All right. The next thing is Xing is Dexter Loomis.
So the Wyatt 6, I did not watch Raw last night. I was watching Blink 182 instead. But from what I understand, the Wyatt 6 made their maskless debut last night. And apparently our boy Dex has dreads now.
Not only does he have dreads, but he's got face paint and the goatee is coming. Dude, he looks like
a badass.
He looks like he could sing for a 90s band for sure. I'm thinking, why?
Somebody said he looked like the lead singer for Korn, but blonde.
Korn, that works. Yes. And Scary, like the lead singer for Korn.
I'm here for it.
And I do believe in a video later on he spoke. So I believe that was his voice. So, which we've only heard once, and it was very high pitched.
Okay, I decided to cheat, and
it's not. No, there's nothing wrong with looking it up,
dude.
Yeah,
dude.
And here's the thing: his mannerisms and everything when he came out and when they took the mask off, I'm like, they replaced him. That's not him anymore. That's not him anymore. It can't be.
Has he been away from our camera so long that those are real dreads? Has he been in that long?
I don't think so. I think it's a Damian Priest
Yeah,
thing.
that's a couple of years of growth.
If you looked at the I believe it was the Whataburger picture, you could see that his hair is growing out.
For sure.
But I think those are extensions, but they work, especially in what he's doing. And Gacy looks creepy.
Yeah, he does look like I mean, they both look like total badasses for sure.
It really works. And they're actually wrestling next week. So
in-ring debut?
In-ring against
the Creeds?
Yes.
I dig it.
And Gable. So it's going to be those three against them. And so you didn't see the video at first, but they showed the video later, and the video was great. But just them coming out, and there was speculation, would they ever wrestle? What would they do? And they took their masks off and they got in the ring, and it was really good. All right, the last thing that's Xing is something we haven't partook in a long time. I don't care if it's a word. Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. It is never a bad day to celebrate Taco Tuesday. Every day is Taco Tuesday in my heart.
Guess what I'm having for supper tonight?
Tacos.
Yep,
Gotta be.
Actually,
gotta be.
I am having tacos.
I started making on Taco Tuesdays because Rob Brown's being healthy. I started making lean turkey tacos.
Mm-hmm.
You season those up with some taco seasoning.
Right.
It works just fine. Hey, that's it for us, kid. Thanks for being here. Thanks again to All Elite Wrestling and Orange Cassidy. Dynamite and Collision tomorrow night at the Bon Score Wellness Arena. Tomorrow morning, another edition of the Rob Brown Show featuring that guy over there. He is Lonzo. My name is Rob Brown. Thank you for being here. You're all stellar people. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. See you back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later. Yeah!
You had to hit it one more time, didn't you?
I just looked up. Liv is taking the mask off. He looks dope.
Again, at first I'm like, is that him?
Yeah.
Plus he's kind of doing, that kind of the creepy thing. But when they showed the video later on, I'm like, it's still not him. Then you look at the tattoos.
Yeah.
And when you see the tattoos, I mean, he's the only one who has those.
Sick with the beard and everything.
Yes, he does.
He looks sick. Gacy looks genuinely terrifying.
But he always looks like that. I mean, it's a perfect group for him.
Old Nikki Cross coming off the top rope. I love to see it. I mean, she popped Chad too.
Uncle Howdy comes out later at the end of the thing as Gable is going up the ramp. I didn't know if you were going to watch that far. So.
Well, I have to finish Raw. I got to finish Blood and Guts still, but. Bro, he just power bombed a dude onto another dude.
Yes, he did.
I like Rowan just kind of being like the organizer of the chaos. Crossbody, nasty. Very excited about this. All right, guys and gals, that's going to be it for us. Thanks for being here. You're all amazing. We appreciate it. Thanks again to Orange Cassidy, friend of the show, Orange Cassidy. Glad to add him to the mix. Y'all have a great day. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.